The Americans have gone 4-2 in their last 6 games. However, the Bats have been inconsistent, maxing out at 21 runs on Friday against Geneva, but combining for just 6 in their games against Auburn and Elmira. This week will be a true test of how strong this Americans team truly is, as they take on 2 of the other teams in the West Division playoff picture this week, starting tonight with the Muckdogs. Batavia came out on top last time these teams faced off, but the Americans have the chance to clinch a tie in the season series by winning today. It's the Americans, it's the Muckdogs, it's PGCBL Baseball right here on the Americans Baseball Network.
That the ace of the Giant pitching staff that season was Niagara Falls native Sal Magley. A league low 2.71 earned run.
They chose Niagara Falls because of the stadium, because of the history, because they believe in Niagara Falls.
Tickets 716-215-6161.
And where do you play?
We play right at Sal Magley, gorgeous stadium.
Set the 1-0 to Boyle. Is hammered to right field.
Go, baby, go, baby, go.
Come here, fence! That ball is way out of here.
Welcome into Sal Magley Stadium. Americans and Muckdogs getting ready to face off for the 6th time this season. The Americans getting ready to clinch a tie at the very least in this season series. And the stakes could not be higher for these teams. The Americans set up for a gauntlet this week. First this game against Batavia and then a 3-game set against the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. I'm Andrew Roberts. I'll be bringing you through all the action tonight alongside our color commentator, Avery Vogt. Avery, how you doing today?
You know, it's a nice sunny day out here in Niagara Falls. It's a great day for baseball, especially with these 2 teams colliding today between the Muckdogs and the Americans. So we're definitely in for a big game here today for both teams.
Oh, definitely. The stakes are huge in this game. The last time these teams played, it was a 3-game series for first place in the PGCBL West Division, and the Americans had won the first 2 games against Batavia prior to that series, but then they dropped 2 out of 3 in that one. So the Americans lead the season series right now 3-2, and these teams play just 8 times. So big opportunity today, and then against Jamestown, last 3 games of the season, that series will decide the season series. So this week could really pick apart the playoff contenders and the championship contenders from the pretenders.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a lot of strong teams here in the West Division, and we got 2 of them facing off here today. So this could be some really telltale stories here for these playoffs coming up. So it's an early show here for these fans today.
Oh, definitely. And we'll take a look at where everything stands headed into tonight's games. The Batavia Muckdogs are first place in the West Division for the time being at 22-9-1. Tarp Skunks and Americans knocking on the door 1.5 games back, tied for second. Doubledays in fourth at 18-10-5. Pioneers just outside the playoff picture. Pilots beginning to fall out of things, and the Red Wings and Ironbacks fully mathematically eliminated. So really, this has been a 6-team playoff race for a long time now, but I feel Newark's trending in the wrong direction, so really at this point looks to be more like a 5-team race. Nonetheless, every game counts for teams like the Muckdogs and especially teams like the Americans. 10 games left, and they are at 23-13. Worst case scenario, it's a 500 record. Best case scenario, 33-13 winning record for the team.
Yeah, I mean, at this point of the season, they've basically locked in a better record than last year. Last year they went 16-24, so they just missed the playoffs by 1 spot. So, I mean, it's a drastic improvement for this team, you know, only being in the 2nd season of this team existing, and they've really stepped up this season. So to cap it off, I would love to see them make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, big improvements, and we'll get you the Batavia Muckdogs lineup that the Americans will be facing Tyler Castrotar leading things off, playing shortstop, batting .344. Braden Horton, the lefty out of Oklahoma, in center field. Sean Mindus in left, batting third. Jackson Inman, the cleanup man, playing third base. James Bolton at DH, second-year Muckdog, batting fifth. Kyle Vaughn, the new Muckdog, in right field, bats sixth. Cooper Fesh, the extra hitter, in the 7-hole. Justin Espinal at first, batting eighth. Koppel and Romick to round things out at second and catcher. So those are your real two players that are not necessarily everyday guys joining this lineup. Everybody else, your typical everyday players for these Muck Dogs. And 1 through 10, this is a very tough lineup to face.
Yeah, I mean, they've got batters all around this lineups, and that's one of the things you got to look out for them is no matter where in the order, they got guys that can hit the ball, but their first three guys all higher than a .340 batting average, so it's going to be a start out of the gate for Blandino, a little test for him, but I think he can get it done, so it's going to be a challenge today, like I said, but the Americans are plenty good enough to take on these Muck Dogs here today.
Yeah, Luke Blandino getting set to face these guys. We'll give you a full introduction of him after we pause for the national anthem.
Ladies and gentlemen, Yankee Doodle Land. And now, fans, at this time, please direct your attention to the third baseline as members of Pack 539 make their way to presenting tonight's colors. A big thank you to Pack 539 for presenting tonight's colors. Thank you, Pack 539. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise as able and remove your hats for the playing of the national anthem. For tonight's national anthem, please welcome Jason Moynihan. Jason is the father of Niagara Falls Americans Country League past. Jason is a nationally touring and recording artist that has played for such people as West Guy, B.B. King, Carlos Santana, and John Mayer. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Jason Moynihan. Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Moynihan. And Jason, thank you so much for the playing of our national anthem.
Thank you so much to Jason Moynihan, a great national anthem. We'll have baseball underway in just a moment as the color guard clears the field. And we are back. We'll introduce you to the American starting pitcher for the night. It's Luke Blandino. 4-0 record, 3 ERA. 23 strikeouts, and we'll give you a proper introduction to the Muckdogs starter in the bottom of the first. But these two starting pitchers, both undefeated in win-loss record on the season. Yes, there have been some no decisions mixed in there and some lost games out of the bullpen for these teams. But in terms of games won and lost by Blandino and Chandler, both undefeated records. Luke Blandino is 4-0, Gavin Chandler is 3-0. So, I mean, on paper, could be a great pitcher's duel, but both these teams have plenty in the batting order as well. So, I mean, a lot of times when a pitcher's duel is what's expected, things can go completely unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, especially like you said, Andrew, when you got two stellar pitchers like these on the mound tonight, usually you expect a low-scoring game, but from my experience, it's usually, like you said, the games get out of hands and we might see a high-scoring game. But for the most part, out of Blandino, I'm expecting a low-scoring game for him, and let's see if these Americans can defy the odds here against this starting pitcher and really get the bats across here tonight.
Well, Riley Drew Cross, our ceremonial first pitch, was getting ready to throw flames, but control, unfortunately, did not come with those flames this time around. Here's to hoping Luke Blandino can perform better than that on the mound. But, I mean, Riley has been practicing all day. Props to him for going out there and trying his best to throw fire.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not an easy thing to do, especially with a bunch of people watching you. But, yeah, like you said, the nerves might have gotten to him. But, yeah, definitely Blandino here on the mound knows what he's doing. So, expecting him to really attack these hitters here right out of the gate.
Yeah, he'll be back up here to score this game in just a moment. But when it comes to this matchup as a whole, the Muckdogs have been on fire. Since they last saw the Americans have ripped off 5 out of 6 victories. So a very impressive stretch for Batavia. However, this is a nice pitcher's duel. Luke Blandino has been the most consistent Americans pitcher all season long, and the bats have been working hard today, got some good batting practice in, and practiced their signs with Coach Will Cordero. There's been some miscommunications from Cordero at third throughout the season, but they got everybody on the same page ahead of today's game. And yes, a 5-2 win in Niagara, Canada last night, but just 6 hits. So with BP and with the signs all together, they're looking to exceed that hit total in this game.
Yeah, I mean, when you get a good and well-oiled machine like the Batavia Muckdogs, you really got to make sure everything's fine-tuned. You know, you got to dot the I's and cross the T's. So it seems the Americans really prepared for today's game and hoping it pays off here today.
And here's Tyler Castrataro to face Luke Blandino. This whole game on both sides of the ball, a big test for these two teams. Castrataro, 344 hitter with an 852 OPS to face Blandino as we are underway at Sal Magley. First pitch is up, some chin music for Castrataro. So it's 1-0. Tyler Castrataro, a product of Hofstra University. That's Division I. First two Muckdogs hitters, both D1 guys. So high level of talent here. Blandino from WPI, but second year in this league. Throws another upstairs. I mean, Castrataro, Horton, and Mindos all due up in this inning, and those are 3 hitters that have just shined all year long for the Muckdogs. 344 or higher in batting average, Avery.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said before, it's going to be a challenge right out of the gate for Blandino. I have enough faith in him, though, and we'll see how he handles all these hitters. Like, it's just going to be a battle right out of the gate, and it's definitely a telltale sign for how this game's going to go.
Well, Castrataro up in the battle so far. Takes the outside breaking ball for a third ball on the count. 3-0 pitch coming in just a moment from Luke Blandino. Here it is. Bunt shown and pulled back in time for ball 4. A 4-pitch walk to start things off.
Yeah, it just seemed like Blandino, especially with the first batter up, seems to have a little bit of a break in his control there, but he'll settle into this game. I have faith in him, but you just got to get the jitters out and get settled into this game.
Blandino, always a big emphasis on attacking the zone, but against these Muckdogs, that's dangerous waters to test. So we'll see what mixes in store for Braden Horton after the 4-pitch walk to Tyler. It's a 5th straight ball up and away to Horton, the first left-handed hitter Blandino will have to face tonight. Muckdogs have 3 true lefties and a switch hitter in their order to face the right-hander Blandino. Castrotar already a lead at first base. And Blandino throws it down the pike but away to make it 2-0. 6 consecutive balls by Luke Blandino. What can he do to adjust here? Castrotaro looking to get into scoring position with a big hitter, Braden Horton, ready to advance him. Another outside ball. And here comes Paul Delanto, the catcher, to meet with Luke Blandino. Blandino just really struggling to find that strike zone in the early going.
Yeah, it seems like he's got the intentions of trying to attack these hitters, but yeah, like you said, Andrew, these balls are just not quite finding the strike zone. It's been a easy 1-2 here for the Batavia, as their batters have had the ability to keep their bat on their shoulders and hadn't had anything really to bite at. So we'll see if Blandino can refine his strike zone attack here.
Yeah. Blandino's been a little more careful just not to throw meatballs down the pike, but in that process, missing the strike zone, sometimes by small amounts, but nonetheless, looking to recover on the 3-0 pitch. Finds the corner for strike 1. That's what Blandino's been trying to do this whole time, but executed perfectly with that strike 1. Luke looks back at Castrotaro briefly. Now the 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss for strike 2. There's the Luke Blandino we all know and love.
Yeah, he got a nice chop out of there by Horton, and gets a nice full count here with a payoff pitch coming up.
Blandino has 23 strikeouts on the year. Could this be number 24 as he tries to recover from the 3-0 count? The payoff pitch right here is outside and up and away for ball 4. Runners on first and second. The Muckdogs threatening with nobody out in this top of the first inning. Not going to be easy for Blandino in this one. Great pitcher, but facing one of the best lineups in the league.
Yeah, like we've mentioned before, Andrew, these Muckdogs are just great hitters, but so
leading the team in batting average at 409, OPS of 493. Both runners have a lead. That'll be just upstairs for ball 1. Blandino trying to find that upper inside corner again, but just misses. Castrotaro, the lead runner at first. Horton right behind him. And still nobody out with the 1-0 count. Another pitch from Blandino, fouled off and hits Skip Martinez at third. That's got a sting, but it's 1-1. Luke Blandino looking to get the count in his favor for the first time today.
Yeah, that was a good attack there by Blandino. Get the foul ball. Like you said, unfortunately, it hits third base coast over there for Skip Martinez, but seems to be all right. And like you said, Blandino's got the count in his favor, so we'll see if he keeps attacking here.
Skip Martinez also the head honcho for these Muckdogs. And it's 1-1 to Sean Mindas with 2 on and nobody out. That breaking ball does not drop low enough there. Another count in the hitter's favor after 2 consecutive walks allowed. This is not an easy team to face. CJ Hurley had his toughest start against this team, as did Keegan Bazinet. Blandino, that's sent into shallow center on the fly ball. Grant Moore makes the grab for out number 1. So just to get an out in this inning here is much needed with these runners on.
Yeah, definitely, Andrew. I mean, you got two runners on, but fortunate enough for Blandino there, just get some weak contact there out of Mindas, and kind of settles down that hot fire of Mindas with his 409 batting average. So you kind of take a breath there, didn't give anything up really, but you just got to take care of these 2 outs and these 2 runners on.
Yeah, I think on a night when the swing and miss stuff isn't at its best, forcing soft contact is going to be the way to win for Luke Blandino and the Americans. See if he figures that out against Inman, but it's a swing and miss for strike one. The low breaking ball gets him to chase. So, I mean, I guess if Blandino can find his command to the zone right there, should be just fine, but soft contact, another way to get outs if his command remains inconsistent. Inman, a product of Salisbury University. A 1 pitch, up and away. So counts now even, and I stand by what I said earlier. I would like to see Luke Blandino force some of more of that soft contact, especially no runner on third, even a deep fly ball. Unlikely to knock in a run in this scenario. James Bolton's on deck as the gauntlet of this Batavia lineup continues. It's a low ball 2. Puts the count in Inman's favor after an early strike. These first 5 hitters in the order, just such a tough bunch. Cooper Fesh, another tough customer. Kyle Vaughn, a pretty new Muckdog sandwiched in between. Remains to be seen how big his role will be, but a nasty top 7 overall for Batavia. Blandino checks back on Castrotaro and throws another outside. 3-1 again. And I would put another one over the plate here. As long as there's no hard contact, should be good results for the Americans. Blandino checks on Castrotaro again, now delivers. In there on the outside corner for strike 2. Counts all filled up for the second time today.
Yeah, it wasn't quite a heater down the middle like you said, Andrew, but he still gets that corner and gets a strike call from the umpire, so now he's got another full count he's got to deal with here.
Still got to be careful against a guy like Inman, a 342 hitter. So I do understand pain in the corners here. Just got to have precision in that. Blandino, the payoff is in there on the inside corner. Opposite corner for strike 3 on Jackson Inman.
Yeah, it looked like Inman there, kind of stood there for a second. Thought he was going to get that ball 4 count, but the umpire disagrees, and Blandino gets his 24th strikeout on the season there.
A very wise sequence for Luke Blandino. Paints the outside, then comes inside to fool Inman, and he does not bite. James Bolton up next, the DH for Batavia. He's played some time at catcher and first base, but primarily designated here. Castrotaro takes off for third base as it's a dribbler to Alan Ramos in time for out number 3. So a quick 3 outs after the Muckdogs had back-to-back walks to start things off. We'll send it to the bottom of the first and give you the Americans lineup after the break.
No, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh, thanks,
Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
Back for the bottom of the first with the lineup for the Niagara Falls Americans. My apologies. Got the wrong graphic here, but we'll give you that Americans lineup anyways in just a moment. And there it is. Got it in just in time. Graham Moore leading off and playing center field. Alan Ramos at shortstop, batting second for the second straight game. Gavin Boyle in left bats third. Paul Delanto, cleanup hitter and catcher. Braden Miller batting fifth and playing first base. Carmen Panaro in right field batting sixth. Chris Gazaldo, the third baseman, bats seventh. Nick Past is the DH tonight, batting 8th. Connor Kiefer at 2nd, batting 9th. And then Tommy Mathay, the extra hitter, to round things out. They'll be facing Muckdogs ace Gavin Chandler. He's 3-0 with a 1.61 ERA and 14 strikeouts out of Bevel State. So a very nice pitching matchup tonight between Blandino and Chandler. Blandino had some trouble with walks early on, but a nice finish to the inning as Moore swings and misses on strike 1. Grant Moore leading qualified hitters in batting average. Sean Mendes tied with him in that metric, but a little short of the qualified number of at-bats. Now 1-1 after the low ball to Grant. And that's a high chopper right back to the pitcher Chandler. Moore coming close to beating it out, and he gets there. Grant Moore had Gavin Chandler chasing him down. He was worried the throw wouldn't beat out Grant Moore, and Grant gets there anyways.
Yeah, it looked like Chandler was trying to just tag him out, and as he couldn't reach him, he tries to throw the first baseman who wasn't really expecting it, and Grant Moore makes it safely to first base. And nice start here for these Americans, especially when they got Grant Moore, who's almost guaranteed to get a double out of this, as he's got the wheels on first there.
That's not a batter you want to mess around with on a close call. Grant Moore's going to get there every time. And Alan Ramos, another speedster, to follow him up. It's a low ball 1 to Ramos. Ramos, 250 on the year with an OPS of 642. An inside ball to Allen puts the count in his favor.
Yeah, I really like what Ramos has done here. Came in a little late here for these Americans. Was coming in near the bottom of the lineup, and he's now really established himself here as a nice second hitter here for these Americans.
Moore with a lead towards second, but another strike to Allen. It's 2-1. First strike thrown by Chandler was to Grant Moore. Ramos, another high chopper to Inman at third. The throw to second in time, but the throw to first is not. Fielder's choice. Ramos gets there, and he replaces Grant Moore on first base. Another guy who could easily turn this into a double. Unfortunately, Grant Moore beat out by the throw at second base.
Yeah, I didn't get the early steal sign there for Grant Moore, and like you said, unfortunately gets the fielder's choice of him out at second. And I still got a lot of faith in Alan Ramos there on first base. He's definitely got enough speed too, and we could definitely see a bag stolen from him here.
Gavin Boyle up next. 3 home runs on the year. One of them came against Batavia. Breaking ball drops in the outside corner for strike 1. A beautiful rainbow curve by Gavin Chandler.
Yeah, looked like that ball was going to come in at Gavin Boyle, and then last second it breaks right into that strike zone. Nice pitch right there.
Chandler with the 0-1. It's popped up into the shallow outfield. Inman backing up into foul territory, dives for it and makes the grab. Oh my goodness. We've got a web gem out on the field.
Yeah, it looked like Inman there was tracking on the ball, kind of had to fight the sun a little bit there, but gets his hand in the right spot and just makes that catch. Nice play right there by him.
Paul Delanto, the last hope to expand this inning, has Alan Ramos on first base, ready to head for second at any moment with 2 down. Don't want to risk it too much here, but Ramos very hard to catch stealing. Delanto takes the first one on the outside edge for strike 1. Looked like he was intent on taking that first pitch no matter what. Didn't want to swing too early, but now the 0-1 count. Ramos dancing around first base, starts his lead towards second. High fly ball in the left field, though. It's caught by Sean Mendes for out number 3. So 3 outs in a row after the leadoff knock by Grant Moore. Will send it to the top of the second after the break.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the 3rd inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
We bring you back for the top of the second inning. And the second inning here on the Americans Baseball Network is brought to you by Bully Hill Vineyards, a great place to grab lunch and taste over 40 different wines. Go to bullyhillvineyards.com for more. We'll also give you a look around the PGCBL West Division. The Newark Pilots have an early 5-0 lead over the Tarp Skunks in the bottom of the first inning. They are showing some fight on the edge of that playoff picture, and then the Pioneers up 4-0 on the Red Wings in the top of the second in Geneva. Doubledays and Ironbacks have the night off. But, I mean, Newark Pilots in that 6th spot right now. We're beginning to fall out of the playoff race, but they're not done quite yet if they're beating Jamestown by that much this early.
Yeah, Newark is definitely one of those kind of gritty teams, and they're definitely not up by any shot, but like you said, Andrew, they're just hanging on by a thread, and if they want to eventually hopefully make the playoffs, I mean, especially with a start like that against the Tarp Skunks, is a great look for them.
Definitely, and it'll be Vaughn to start things off. Kyle Vaughn for the Batavia Muckdogs. Cooper Fesh and Justin Espinal to follow him up, as it's 1-0 from Blandino to Vaughn. Blandino gonna get back in this count. 1-0 pitch is a breaking ball, drops on the low edge for strike 1. Those breaking balls, I'd argue, are Blandino's best stuff to find this strike zone.
Yeah, it definitely throws the batters off, and like there, it didn't get a swing, so yeah, it's definitely working for him.
High fly ball into right field, foul territory. Chasing it down, Carmpanara will not get there. Ramos came all the way from shortstop to try and get that. That's rare to see. Or rather, that was Connor Kiefer coming from second base, but still. Some nice range for Connor. I mean, had his Superman-style catch against Batavia last time these two teams played at Sal Maglie. Roller coaster defender at second base. That goes behind the batter. But if there's any time to do that, it's with the bases empty.
Yeah, I'll say no need to worry from Delanto there or anyone really, as like you said, Andrew, there's no one on, so no need to worry about the guy on first or second advancing there.
Luke Blandino has the count even. Foul ball put in his favor before that wild ball 2. Swing and a miss for strike 3. It's his second strikeout of the day. Luke Blandino also up to 25 on the year. What an accomplishment for Luke Blandino. He's just been a rock for this Americans pitching staff.
Yeah, I mean, he's just been stellar this year, and he pays off for him as he hits that 25 mark on the strikeouts. It's definitely a good number you like to see out of him.
Cooper Fesh up next. Typically bats in the top 6 for Batavia, but switched with Kyle Vaughn ahead of this game. Swings and misses on strike 1. Another breaking ball by Luke Blandino, fooling Fesh. Blandino struck out 2 of his last 3 batters faced. A 6-3 ground out to Bolton. James Bolton in between. And it's another strike on the low edge. Luke Blandino really liking that low edge of the zone over these last couple at bats.
Yeah, he's shown a lot more prowess here on the mound. He's not really attacking the zone, but he's definitely getting these balls in there and not showing any fear against these heavy hitters in the Muckdogs.
Just have to find a way to throw strikes. That's a rocket down the third base line, foul. Keeps Fesh alive for the time being, with Espinal due up on deck. Blandino. Ready for the 0-2 pitch. He delivers. And that is way upstairs over the glove of Delanto. Again, bases empty. So a little wiggle room for Luke. I don't mind him taking the risks with the bases empty and one down. Just gotta throw what he knows right here. There's the 1-2. And it's a ground ball right to Miller. It's in foul territory, so waved off. And it keeps Fesh alive on what likely would have been a routine ground out right to Graydon.
Yeah, like you said, Andrew, no need for Blandino to get all fancy here. Just stick to what he knows. Clearly these breaking balls have been working, getting them strikes in on the Muckdogs, so let's hope to see he gets one here and nicks one of the corners here for a strikeout.
Yeah, it's worked all year. ERA under 3 through an inning here in Batavia. Swing and a miss. Actually, may have gotten a piece of it there. He stays alive. Tipped that just barely.
Yeah, it looked like Cooper Fesh there kind of just swung out of his shoes a little bit, but luckily for him, he just makes just enough contact to follow it off there.
Blandino still has the count in his favor, and yes, a good job by Fesh to stay alive. And takes another pitch outside over that righty batter's box. It's 2-2. If Cooper Fesh can battle all the way back from 0-2, would be arguably the most impressive feat by a Muckdogs batter all day long. Very early in this game, but still the 2-2 from Blandino is chopped foul. Never mind, it was a swing and a miss. But on the wild pitch, Cooper Fesh reaches first base. My goodness, it's been a wonky at bat with Cooper Fesh, and it all ends in a crazy ending to get him on the base.
Yeah, it's not something you usually see every day with the strikeout reaching on a wild pitch, so they got to run around here for the Muckdogs, so Blandino's got to be a little more cautious here with his pitches as he doesn't have the empty bases anymore.
Luke Blandino facing Justin Espinal next. Yes, more pressure on him. Has to go with what he knows now. Big cut and miss by Espinal for strike one. That low edge strike continuing to work for Dino. Double play also available. And could be a little bit easier with Cooper Fesh than it was with guys like Castro and Horton, the speedsters at the top of the order. 0-1 pitch is low to put ones across the board. So Blandino going for that same spot, but a little too low that time around. Not going to work every single time. But overall, a nice pitch for him. Pickoff attempt unsuccessful at first base. Not even close. Cooper Fesh slides back in. Very small lead that Fesh takes, but still an effective one. Blandino just looks back at him this time. Now ready for the 1-1. Here he goes. High pop-up into the shallow outfield. Ramos backing up, as is Gazaldo. Boyle coming in, but Ramos leaps for the catch. It's 2 down in the inning. Cooper Fesh still on first. Just the kind of out you want to see with a runner on base, Avery.
Yeah, it's like you said, Andrew, that soft contact out of these Muckdogs is getting these outs that Blandino needs, and might have been a little bit of a difficult play there for Ramos, but he's definitely a stellar performer on defense and easily makes that catch.
I always say best 4 outcomes with 1 out and runners on are strikeout, double play, line out, and pop out. Anything else, you risk the runner advancing. Blandino pitching to Cameron Koppel now. High chopper. Ramos coming in for it. The throw in time for out number 3. Alan Ramos back-to-back plays to end this inning. He's been busy over these first 2, and we'll send it to the bottom of the second after the break.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Hey fans, this season get yourself the latest Americans gear. Hats, t-shirts, sweatshirts, baseballs, and much, much more. Stop by the merchandise stand by concessions.
We are back for the bottom of the second inning. Merchandise stand open per usual. And our social media and merchandise manager, Leah Fraun, working that stand tonight. Big shout out to her for everything she does. If you're watching, we also say hello. But Graydon Miller will lead things off for the Americans against Gavin Chandler this inning. Will be followed up by Carm Panaro and Chris Gazaldo. Miller has been one of the biggest bats for the Americans this season. PGCBL All-Star and a .340 hitter. Cuts and misses, chasing the outside pitch right there from Chandler. Miller. The 0-1 is lined over the head of Cameron Koppel for the base hit. Graydon Miller gets on. It's the second knock of the day for the Americans. 2 leadoff hits in the first 2 innings. First by Moore, now by Graydon.
Yeah, that wasn't the most strongest hit right there by Graydon Miller, but regardless, it gets over the second baseman there and gets a hit down there for Graydon Miller and an early runner on first here for these Americans.
Yeah. Nice little floater, had some carry on it. Gets over Koppel's head and gets him on base for Carm Panaro. Panaro, two-way player, but batting .250. Another line shot down the first base line. Just fair for the base hit. Coming to third is Graydon Miller. Panaro into second. He's got the double. Carmen Panaro, another extra base knock. He's been full of them in the recent stretch.
Yeah, he just gets that first pitch he likes, and man, he couldn't put that ball any better of a spot right there. Just inside the foul line, and it reaches all the way down at the right field wall. And no outs here with for these Americans, and they got runners in second and third, and this is a great spot here for these Americans to break the score open.
Panaro is 4th two-bagger of the season. Chris Gazaldo with 2 runners in scoring position. And I would say Chris Gazaldo has really been the X factor for the team this season. When he's hot, the bats are usually hot in general.
Yeah, he's a very strong hitter. He's definitely one of those guys that you can trust to go out there and get you a hit. He's also a very reliable man out there on third base.
Gazaldo, fly ball into shallow right center. Coming in from right for the catch is Kyle Vaughn, but coming in to score, Graydon Miller. But Panaro heads to third as well. He's out. So 1 down and a run in on the sac fly. Rather 2 down. Gazaldo also retired, but Panaro caught on the throw, but a run scoring. Chris Gazaldo finding a way to make an impact with the sac fly.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately doesn't drop for a hit like he wants to, but like you said, Andrew, gets Graydon Miller across the plate and gave him at about scoring a run there for these Americans.
And it's Nick Pass, the DH, up next. Takes one outside. Passed, .222 hitter with a .719 OPS. Almost a mirror image of his numbers at Eastern Florida State College. Pop up in deep foul territory, right field side, and it drops. Vaughn was chasing it down, but cannot get there in time.
Yeah, it looked like he was going to get there and make that catch, but drops kind of in a weird spot against him, so he doesn't make the catch. So luckily keeps Nick Pass alive here.
And Espinal and Koppel also chased after that one. They retreat to the infield. But yeah, passed. Looking to make some contact in fair territory this time around with the 1-1 count. Just outside to put another ball on Nick. Americans with the first run of the game on that Gazaldo sac fly. Been a pitcher's duel so far, as you would expect from these two. And it's a low ball to Pass to put the count well in his favor at 3-1. Nick Pass spent his first 2 years in Florida. Now here with the Americans this summer. Line shot into left field for the base hit. Those line drives really working this inning for the Americans. It's their 3rd hit of the inning, all on liners. Panaro down the first base line, passed into left field. And the floater into right center by Graydon Miller was the first knock of this inning. Connor Kiefer has had a hot bat of late, and he's up next.
Yeah, Nick Pass, though, just being a little patient at the plate, what we like to see out of the Americans, and gets rewarded with a hit to the left field, and now we got another runner on for the Americans.
Kiefer takes one inside for strike one. He was standing close to the plate there. Interesting strategy, given he's been hit a couple times over the last day or two. And the 0-1, similar spot. Kiefer's in an 0-2 hole.
Yeah, it looks like Chandler there is just trying to get up and in there on Kiefer, and seems to be working. He's not really biting at these balls, but let's see if Chandler tries to go back right to that same spot.
Kiefer trying to climb out of this hole, though. Takes one upstairs this time for ball one. So, yeah, similar spot, but too high to Connor. And he knew that.
Yeah, that one just wasn't in the same spot as the first two pitches, so Kiefer can keep the bat on his shoulders, and he's still definitely alive here.
Runner on first is Nick Past, who just singled. Kiefer down to his final strike. Takes another one low inside corner to put twos across the board. Kiefer turned 0-2 to 2-2. Can he recover here? A ground ball down the third base line goes foul. Keeps Kiefer alive for the time being. Really battling in this at bat.
Yeah, he's definitely not giving up easy here, and that ball looked like it was going to roll inside the foul line and roll down third base there, but unfortunately just tops foul just a little bit outside the foul line.
It's primarily a shortstop at Alfred State, has shifted over to second for these Americans. 2-2 pitch is popped foul. Kiefer making this a very long at bat.
Yeah, regardless of the outcome here for Kiefer, he's definitely battling and getting Chandler's pitch count up, so that's something I always like to see, and
yeah,
can definitely drive Chandler to maybe throw a couple less innings here with these high pitch counts.
Blandino has more pitches than Chandler as of right now, as Kiefer takes another outside ball to fill up this count with two down. Past has the lead at first. Kiefer looking to advance him. Payoff pitch. High fly ball into left field foul territory. It's shallow. And Castrotaro makes the grab for out number 3 from short. That'll do it for the second inning. We'll be back at the top of the third after the break.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the third inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
We bring you back for the top of the third inning here on the Americans Baseball Network. This third inning is brought to you by Greater Niagara Federal Credit Union, by Geico of Buffalo, Sammy's Pizza, and McDonald's. If the Americans score 2 more runs in this game, every fan in the stands will be given a free McCafe Frappe. Avery, that deal has been pleasing fans all season long.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a benefit for coming out to these games, you know, especially when the Americans most of the time scoring 3 runs and you get that free frappe. I mean, who can't be mad about it? Free stuff, so.
Tonight's an extra special game as It's guaranteed win night at the ballpark. If the Americans don't win this one, everyone will walk away with a ticket for a future game. One of these 2 games against the Jamestown Tarpskunks coming up. Americans will host the Tarpskunks tomorrow to start a 3-game series. First pitch in that one, per usual, will be at 6:30 p.m. And we'll have all the coverage right here on the Americans Baseball Network. Cooper Romick kicks things off for Batavia in this 3rd inning. Then it's the top of the order. Tyler Cacciataro and Braden Horton follow him up. First pitch from Luke low and inside. It hits Romick. Just barely nicks him. First hit batsman of the day for Blandino. Yes, he walked a couple. Well, that's a first.
Yeah, unfortunately there, Blandino just has that pitch out of his hand the wrong way and has a runner on, but the one positive is it's only a 1 pitch walk, so can't be terribly mad about that for the pitch count.
Cacciataro up next for the 2nd time today. Walked his first time up. And pops that foul. Goes out of play into the first base side stands. Cacciataro, a .344 hitter, looking for his first knock of the day.
Yeah, Cacciataro is definitely a tough customer with that .344 batting average and a .852 OPS, so it'd be good here for Blandino if you can force some soft contact or even get him to strike out.
Definitely. He's already gotten on base, but he's due for one. That's a wild pitch, drops out of Delanto's glove, but holding up at first is Romick. So, a couple of crazy spots on these pitches here and there, but at the same time, Blandino has found his strikes over the course of these last couple innings. It's 1-1 on this count, as Blandino hopes to win this battle the 2nd time around after walking Cacciataro once. Low and away, and again a count in Tyler's favor. This is Division III on the mound versus Division I at bat. And you'd assume that Division I would have the advantage, but Blandino, not your average D3 pitcher. Low and away, it's 3-1 to Tyler. Even a strong D3 pitcher falters against these D1 guys sometimes. See if Blandino can recover here. Braden Horton on deck, another D1 product. He plays in the SEC. Here's the 3-1. It's popped up again. Into right field foul territory, chasing it down. Carmen Panaro makes the grab for out number 1. That strands Romick at first as well.
Yeah, nice another pitch there by Blandino. Like we've been saying all day, Andrew. Getting that soft contact, and might not be the easiest play for Carm, but makes the catch, and great start to this inning for a nice first easy out here.
Definitely a nice out number 1. Braden Horton up next. Cooper Romick on first after getting hit by the pitch to kick off the inning. All of Blandino's base runners allowed have come at the start of innings with nobody out. Strike 1 on the low edge. Blandino retired 3 consecutive batters to end inning number 1. And now looking to do the same in the 3rd. Line shot right to Kiefer. And the throw to first is in there for out number 3. The double play. Connor Kiefer shines again. We send it to the bottom of the 3rd.
No, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
We bring you back for the bottom of the third inning, and we'll give you another update around the West Division. Tarp Skunks put a run up against the Pilots, but still 5-1 Newark in the bottom of the second. Pioneers up to 5-0 over Geneva in the bottom of the third there. So this is officially the lowest scoring game tonight so far in the West Division. Bottom of the third inning here as well. And Jamestown and Newark haven't even gotten there yet.
Yeah, I mean, this game here, definitely no slumps of teams here, but definitely got two stronger teams. But it's just been a low-scoring battle here for these Americans, and looking to extend their league here, leading off with Tommy Mathey.
And I think the key to success here in this inning is going to be just get on base. Because all three of these guys do up. Tommy Mathey, Grant Moore, Alan Ramos. These guys can fly on the base paths.
Yeah, like you said, Andrew, just getting someone on, get someone possibly in scoring position would be a great look for these Americans. And like you said, with these guys with their wheels, Grant Moore, Alan Ramos, they've got some speed on them and could definitely be an attack here.
1-0 pitch, another breaking ball. This one finds the outside edge of the zone to even up the count. Tommy Mathey, 157 hitter on the year with a 459 OPS. It's been hot of late, and another ground ball into right field for the base hit. Drops between Koppel and Espinal. And Mathey is on to start this inning, a third straight inning with a leadoff single. And there it is. Tommy Mathey did exactly what I expected out of these Americans in this inning. He got on base right out of the gate.
Yeah, he may not be Grant Moore and Alan Ramos type speed, but Tommy Mathey can definitely leg it out. So with no outs here, it's definitely a good spot to be in for these Americans.
Double steal potential if Moore or Ramos can get on with Mathey. It's strike one on the breaking ball. Outside corner to Grant Moore. Moore thought that would drop too low, but just hangs in there. Fly ball, left field, foul side, and goes out of play. 0-2 to Moore now. Very rare that he's in an 0-2 hole, but certainly capable of climbing out of it. One of the more patient hitters on the team. Leads the team in walks by a long shot. Pickoff attempt at first, but they did not head back with the tag, and he's caught in a rundown. Headed back to first. Will he get to a base in time? Back and forth we go, but finally the tag laid down for out number 2. Cameron Koppel makes the tag, the second baseman. Getting Mathey out as 4 Muckdogs got involved in that rundown of Tommy Mathey for out number 1.
Yeah, Tommy Mathey there. Seemed like he got caught sleeping there on first base, and as the pickoff move went back to first, he just kind of stood there. So maybe next time he'd pay a little bit more attention.
Very rare to catch Americans players that way. It's outside for ball 1. Wonder if Will Cordero and Paul Wolf will have anything to say about it. But I mean, there are some additional players on the Americans bench if they were unhappy with it, but Mathey does have a single, so off to a strong start to his day regardless. Another outside pitch. Grant Moore successfully working this count. He's at 2-2 now after the 0-2 hole. Already has a single today. Can he get on base for the second time against Gavin Chandler? Swing and a miss instead. Chandler strikes out Moore in the left-on-left matchup. Some of these lefties that have been thriving for the Americans. A tougher matchup than usual today.
Yeah, unfortunately for the Americans, after the leadoff single there by Mathey, can't get 2 runners on, and now we got 2 outs with Alan Ramos coming up.
4 lefties in the order for the Americans, and Ramos not one of them. The right-hander up with 2 down. Big cut and miss for strike 1. As the last 2 outs were both recorded during Grant Moore's at-bat. The Mathey rundown and then the Moore strikeout swinging. And believe it or not, that's Gavin Chandler's first strikeout of the day.
Yeah, he's definitely not the swing and miss kind of pitcher, but that'd be his 14th strikeout on the season. So he's definitely a guy that can make you swing and miss, but definitely not like the numbers like Blandino's got.
Chandler thrives off his efficiency. 1-2 to Ramos right here. Swing and miss again. Gavin Chandler, uncharacteristic, but it's back-to-back strikeouts against the top two of the Americans' order. We'll send it to the top of the fourth after the break. Gavin Chandler, have a day.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
We bring you back for the top of the fourth inning. Luke Blandino with a clean first 3 innings, looking to keep that going here. Top of the fourth, as well as the entire fourth inning, sponsored by the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 237, by Johnny Ryan, and by Coca-Cola. You can get all your Coke beverages down at concessions every single home game. Enjoyed a nice can of Sprite pregame. Sean Mindos up for the Muckdogs here. He'll be followed up by Jackson Inman and James Bolton in the inning. But Avery, I know we've both been taking advantage of all the nice Coke beverages down at our concession stand here at Sal Magley.
Yeah, I'm definitely a Coke guy, so whenever I can get my hands on a little bit of it, it's always a good time. But back at my school at St. John Fisher, we're a Pepsi school, so it's kind of a down thing, but still a very great school to go to. So
yeah,
can't put any shame on that.
Ithaca College and St. John Fisher have in common Pepsi products all over the place. You can find the occasional Coke vending machine, but that's about it.
Yeah.
0-1 from Blandino to Mindos. Big hut and miss. Mindos chases the low strike. Those low strikes really working for Luke Blandino.
Yeah, and like they always say, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So Blandino's definitely figuring it out here with these low breaking balls and just nicking the corner here for these batters. Excuse me.
Blandino, the 0-2 pitch is lined right to Connor Kiefer. He's been busy catching those line drives and has done an excellent job at second today.
Yeah, he had that earlier double play going back to first, and like we've been saying all day, Andrew, again, that soft contact is working for Blandino. Goes right to Connor Kiefer, barely even had to take a step there, and nice first out here for Blandino.
Jackson Inman, a cleanup man for the Muckdogs, has no one to clean up here with one down. And Mindos retired, and Inman rather chases the outside strike one. Luke Blandino looking to retire the side after facing just 3 batters in the third inning. Can he do it again in the fourth? It's a high ball one, not what you want to see, but with bases empty, no serious damage done, just ones across the board.
Yeah, it was an unfortunate pitch there for Blandino. Just gets a little bit away from him, and Donald's had to reach up for it. And like you said, Andrew, no one on base, so no need to worry there for the Americans.
Blandino has only had 4 base runners allowed the entire game. An outside ball 2 here. 2 walks, a hit by pitch, and then a wild pitch after a strike 3. Responsible for the 4 runners on base for Batavia in this game. Blandino going to get back in this count with 1 down. Inside ball 3. And if Blandino can't find the zone here, it'll be a walk and 5 pitches for Jackson Inman. Inman swung and missed early. Now 3 balls on the count. 3-1 pitch right here. Another cut and miss to fill things up. Luke Blandino with another full count. He's had mixed results with the count filled up today. Already struck out Jackson Inman once. Can he do it again? Blandino looking for strikeout number 3 today. Would exceed his walk total. And it's low instead. So the potential for 3 strikeouts, 2 walks, but it'll be the exact opposite for Blandino as Inman takes first base. And the second battle between these two, Inman wins out.
Yeah, that one there, Blandino again, just trying to go back to what he knows and try to just hit the corner there or the bottom of the strike zone. And unfortunately doesn't get there, so Inman reaches first there on the walk.
And Inman now on for James Bolton with 1 down. Inside, ball 1 to Bolton. Grounded out to Alan Ramos, his first time up. That ended the first inning. Blandino throws one inside on a close shave to make it 2-0. Up and in on Bolton. Product of SUNY Cortland, the rising senior there. Just 1 year behind all the Cortland interns here in this press box. We're looking to finish their degrees. High chopper to Ramos at short again. Out at second, and it is not in time for the out at first. So another fielder's choice, this time on the Muckdogs. James Bolton taking Inman's spot on first base. And he's the 6th base runner for Batavia in this game. 6 different hitters reaching base on Blandino in a number of different ways. Only the 4th inning. Kyle Vaughn, line shot into left center field. Moore coming in there, it drops in the gap. The no-hitter is dead. Headed into third, James Bolton safe. A single and advance on the throw for Kyle Vaughn. And it's runners on second and third. Luke Blandino with his biggest threat yet on the base paths. 2 down, but 2 runners in scoring position for Cooper Fesh.
Yeah, the unfortunate there for Blandino, had some runners on, but didn't have any hits yet, and fortunately gives up his first hit of the day.
Longest Blandino's gone without giving up a hit. Impressive first 3 innings. Looking to get out of this 4th one cleanly. It's strike 1 on the outside edge to Cooper Fesh. Fesh struck out his first time up, but managed to reach on the wild pitch. So technically 3 strikeouts for Blandino, but big cut and miss to make it 0-2 to Cooper. Fesh caught the most recent game for the Muckdogs against Newark on Sunday. Now taking a break behind the dish. Cooper Romick is there today. But in this lineup, the Muckdogs need his bat. Drops low in the dirt for ball 1. Paul Delanto with a nice stop there to prevent runs from scoring. Would not be the moment for a wild pitch. Blandino looking for the final strike to strand these runners and keep the Americans in the driver's seat. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Inside to even up this count. Blandino, the Americans' ace with the fluffy hair, ready to get out of this inning. And it's 2s across the board right now, as well as 2 runners on base. Chance to be the first 2 runs for the Muckdogs, but Blandino certainly hoping otherwise. Here's the 2-2 again. It's low to fill up this count. Count is all filled up. Muckdogs just had their first hit of the day off the bat of Kyle Vaughn. Now 3 hits in the last 2 games for Kyle. His first hits as a Muckdog came against Newark on Sunday, a pretty new addition to the team, playing just his 3rd game. Quick meeting on the mound between Delanto and Blandino, excuse me, as Cooper Fesh finds himself in a full count against Luke. Blandino with his biggest moment yet coming up here. Payoff pitch with runners on 2nd and 3rd. Vaughn and Bolton looking to come home. But Blandino, the payoff just outside. Loads the bases for Justin Espinal. Was retired his first time up against these Americans, but generally this season has been otherwise known as the American Killer.
Yeah, I was going to say, Andrew, he's been definitely dangerous against these Americans, so might not be the best guy to have up against Blandino, but they got the bases loaded here, so can make the force play here, so we'll see what happens here.
Espinal in his 3rd season with the Muckdogs, so he knows how these Americans operate. Blandino, a 2nd-year American, so certainly not the first time that this matchup has occurred. It's ball 1 low to Justin. Be an opposite-handed matchup as the switch hitter Espinal bats from the left side to face the right-hander Luke. But go-ahead run is now on first base, or rather second base. But swing and a miss for strike 1. Luke Blandino looks to retire the side and strand these bases loaded. Muckdogs have already left a few runners on this game. Pitch is up and away. Count back in the favor of Espinal. And despite no hits in those first few innings, the Muckdogs combined for 3 runners left on base. Looking to avoid doubling that number here. Blandino readies for the 2-1 and delivers. Check swing. No strike call. Pulled back just in time. Espinal hanging in there. Blandino still looking for that final out. It's taken some time. Had 2 outs fairly quickly, and it's a high fly ball into left field foul territory. Gazaldo chasing it down, but will be well out of play. Fills up the count. Luke Blandino. I mean, we talked about highest stakes of the game, and it bat a go with the full count, but somehow just got higher.
Yeah, bases loaded here. A hit would be dangerous here for the Muckdogs, so looking for a strikeout here by Blandino to get out of this inning.
Nowhere to put Espinal. Even a walk knocks in the run. James Bolton on third base. Vaughn on second. Fesh on first. How many can score? Just 1 on the ball 4 from Luke Blandino. James Bolton comes in. Espinal gets on, and Cameron Koppel still has these bases loaded with 2 down. This game is tied.
Yeah, and unfortunately there for Blandino doesn't get the strike in there on the zone, but good thing for the Americans there is there's no hit across, so could have drove in a couple runs there. So just trying to keep the damage to a minimum here for the Americans.
Definitely. Perhaps the biggest concern of all for Luke Blandino is his pitch count. 71 pitches. And ball 1 here to Cameron Koppel, who grounded out to short his first time up. Ground outs to short ended the first 2 innings in this game. First by Bolton, then by Koppel. Koppel, also a middle infielder himself tonight, playing second base for Batavia. 1-0 pitch taken low. Those low edge strikes not working the same way they did early in this game. Blandino looking for a way to recover in this 2-0 count after giving up a couple of walks in a row. Fesch's walk loaded the bases. Espinal's walk knocked in the run. And now the go-ahead run is on third base in the form of Kyle Vaughn. 2-0 pitch up and away, or up and in rather, to make it 3-0. Blandino looking to avoid the 4-pitch walk. It would be very uncharacteristic to walk in a run, especially with the game tied. But hasn't quite looked his best tonight. Will he change that right here? 3-0 pitch is low for ball 4. Another run comes in. It's been 3 straight walks. Muckdogs have scored a run on the last 2, and they take the lead. That is just unacceptable on the Americans' pitching mound. Paul Delanto and Will Cordero now coming to meet with Luke on the bump. Cooper Romick set to bat next. No action in the Americans' bullpen just yet, but Carter Hall heading out to warm up. Blandino still just 2 runs allowed in these 4 innings, but the Americans have got to give him some more run support.
Yeah, the Americans are fortunate enough to get that first run across, and after walking 2 runs in from Blandino, they just got to get runners on base and start attacking. You know, unfortunately before, Tommy Mathey was caught trying to steal there, so you just got to bring some support here, like you said, Andrew, for Blandino, get it some help and make sure to stay alive in this game.
We knew 2 things coming into this game. First of all, that it would generally be a pitcher's duel, but second of all, that these pitchers would have their mistakes. What it really comes down to is which of these lineups exceed expectations by more. Right now, the Muckdogs just taking advantage of Blandino's struggles, but the Americans have to step it up in the bottom of the 4th. Strike 1 on the inside edge of the zone to Cooper Romick. Behind the dish tonight for Batavia. Got hit by the pitch his first time up. 154 hitter on the year. Comes from Lemoyne. One of a few Lemoyne catchers around the PGCBL. Robert Wagren of the Americans was here at one point from Lemoyne. Fly ball into deep center. Moore backs up, makes the grab for out number 3. So finally, some soft contact forced after a trio of walks in a row, knocking 2 runs for the Muckdogs. Blandino also giving up his first hit this inning. We'll send it to the bottom of the 4th, see how the Americans respond.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the 3rd inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
This season, you can connect like never before with the Niagara Falls Americans on our social media platforms. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Twitter.
Those ats are on your screen right now, so follow them while they're still up there. And as usual, a big shout out to our social media managers, Frankie Morris and Leah Fraun, keeping those pages up and running all season long. Kevin Boyle will lead things off for the Americans this inning. This is the power group in the order. Boyle, Delanto, and Miller all due up. Boyle has 3 homers on the year. Delanto and Miller each have a bomb as well.
Yeah, I mean, homers aren't very common here in the PGCBL, but when you got 5 combined homers and 3 batters, it's definitely a stat you want to look at. I mean, it's not a determining fact in their power, but they definitely got it. So we'll see what they can do with this Muckdogs lineup.
Also a combined 63 RBIs between the 3 of them. It's 2 balls upstairs in a row to Gavin Boyle. Boyle, the foul out his first time up. Only RBI in this game comes from Chris Gazaldo. It's a big cut and miss for strike 1. Don't mind the swing there from Boyle personally, especially with 2 balls of wiggle room. Still, the count is in favor.
Yeah, he had 2 early balls in the count, so yeah, I'm sure he got the sign and gets another swing out of it there.
Grounder foul, and Espinal was chasing that down, but not going to matter because it's 2-2 with nobody out. Chandler, the breaking ball, stays high for ball 3. Boyle with a smart take right there. Baseball IQ on this team showing in many different ways tonight. Connor Kiefer with that double play, and now Boyle at the plate. Here's the payoff from Chandler. Swing and a miss. And Gavin Boyle loses the Gavin-on-Gavin matchup. Strikes out swinging. It's the 3rd strikeout in a row by Chandler. After no strikeouts through the first 2 innings, he's struck out 3 straight. Unbelievable.
Hey, he's really seemed to find his swing and miss stuff here against these Americans, and just unfortunate timing for the Americans, and they got to learn to realize what pitches are coming and try to get some hits across here and get back to what they were doing here in the first few innings.
Delanto takes one at his knees for ball 2. Paul Delanto, 0 for 1 on the day. Flew out to left field on a hard hit baseball. Sean Mindas, just a great job tracking it down. Big cut and miss for strike 2 to Pauly. Strike 1, rather. Delanto. 1 down, nobody on. And it's a dribbler to the shortstop. Ooh. And a bobble by Castrotaro. Still gets there in time to catch Delanto. Paul Delanto, not known for his speed, and right there, unable to beat it out despite the Castrotaro bobble at short.
Yeah, Castrotaro just seemed kind of like drop the ball and still has enough time to throw to first and get it in time there to get the out on Delanto.
A nice recovery by Tyler at short. Has been playing a lot of second and center of late, but getting a trial run back at short in this game after playing there early in the season. Floater into center field. Could be a bloop single, but no. Braden Horton makes the grab for out number 3. Americans go down 1-2-3 in this bottom of the 4th inning. We'll see what the Muckdogs can do if they can expand their lead in the top of the 5th after the break.
No, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
In a surprising move, Luke Blandino has been pulled through 4 innings. Carter Hall coming in out of the pen. Just 1 hit allowed by Blandino on the day, but so many walks as well. Luke Blandino finished the day walking 6 batters. Carter Hall, nice outing his last time around, but on the season 1-0 with a 7.56 ERA and 7 strikeouts. Andrew Roberts back here with Avery Vogt for the 5th inning, and this 5th inning is brought to you by Tropical Heating and Cooling. Call 716-870-0753 for expert service. Look around the PGCBL. The Jamestown Tarp Skunks came all the way back. They now lead 6-5 over the Pilots in the bottom of the 3rd. Elmira Pioneers up 5-0 on the Red Wings, bottom of the 5th in that game. So Avery, we've seen some discourse in the chat about whether the Skunks are actually playing right now. One of our viewers over from Jamestown thought they had been postponed, but clearly still going, according to Presto and according to another one of our live chat responders.
Yeah, it seems like the Tarp Skunks really found themselves in their game and came down from a 5-1 deficit, and now they've taken the lead against the Pilots, so it's definitely going to be a battle through that rest of the game for them.
And as we discussed this, accidentally just drew in pen on myself. Not every day that happens. Just trying to keep my book here. I'm not trying to score a single on my own body here. But a big 1 across my arm now. As Tyler Castrotaro gets ready to make it the 3rd time through the Muckdogs order. The Americans already down 1. Carter Hall looking to keep the damage in check in this top of the 5th. Tyler Castrotaro 0 for 1 on the day with a walk. Hall to Tyler Castrotaro. The breaking ball will not drop low enough. Ball 1 to start this off against Tyler. Not a lot of speed on that pitch. A lot of break, but not quite enough. 1-0 pitch, and this breaks way inside. 2 balls in a row, and Carter Hall so far struggling to find this strike zone. Austin Barton, the other reliever, expected to come in for the Americans. His ERA around double digits as well. Strike 1 on the outside corner by Hall. Looking to settle in after 2 early balls to Tyler Castrotaro. First pitch was a good idea, just a little bit off target. Second one was way inside, and another one inside on the curve for ball 3.
Yeah, it seems like Carter Hall is just trying to get that curveball to come back in onto the top of the zone, and it's getting close, but not enough for the umpire to call it a strike.
Castrotaro very patient here, not chasing on any of these 12-6ers. It's a line shot into right center field. It's backing up, drops in the gap between Panaro and Moore. Tyler Castrotaro is headed toward third base. He's got a triple. Castrotaro, the first extra base hit for the Muckdogs in this game.
Yeah, Castrotaro there just lines one into the gap in right center field, and using his legs gets all the way to third, so I already hear some danger here for Carter Hall as they run around third and no outs.
Braden Horton up next. He's 0 for 1 with a double play and a walk. But now the chance to knock in the runner in scoring position, fellow Division I hitter Tyler Castrotaro. Castrotaro sliding in for the triple there. Would have easily had a stand-up double, but goes an extra base. High fly ball into right center again. Similar spot to Castrotaro's hit, but it'll be caught by Graham Moore. Castrotaro comes in to score. Sac fly for Braden Horton. And Moore just had a better read on that one, I would argue.
Yeah,
compared to the first ball.
Yeah, Grant Moore there just seemed to settle onto the ball, but that was a deep shot, so Castro just makes it easily into home to extend the Muckdogs lead to 3-1 here.
So Batavia, not Niagara Falls, the first team to 3 runs in this game. Americans would get frappes if they can tie this one. Low ball 1 to Sean Mindas. 0 for 2. Fly out and a line drive into the glove of Connor Kiefer. That started off the 4th inning. He's already back up in the 5th. Muckdogs had 8 batters up in the 4th. Another liner into deep left field. Gavin Boyle won't have to move much for it. Makes the catch for out number 2. So 2 down and nobody on after Castro scored on the sac fly by Horton. Carter Hall gave up a run early, but looking to get out of this inning without any further damage.
Yeah, after that sac fly, a nice pitch by Carter Hall. Gets to the left field for Gavin Boyle to make the nice easy catch, and back up with 2 outs here for the Americans. Let's see if Carter Hall can get out of this inning, like you said, Andrew, without any more damage.
I mean, playing with fire a little bit here, but 2 down in this 5th inning. 1-0 to Jackson Inman. Inman has walked and struck out in this game. Takes another outside. Jackson Inman, one of the best hitters in this Muckdogs order, hasn't played much against these Americans, has been injured here and there. So maybe a little bit of an adjustment period against this team. But right now has the count in his favor from Carter Hall. Hall really been playing with fire here. When he's thrown it in the strike zone, there's been hard contact. It's worked at times, gotten 2 outs, but also responsible for the triple and sac fly.
Yeah, after that triple given up by Carter Hall, he's settled in definitely a little more here, so just got to find the strike zone here.
3-0 pitch from Hall to Inman. Finds the outside corner of the strike zone. 3-1 count. Hall looking to climb back in this after 3 early balls to Jackson. Inman had an excellent season in D3 and has dominated here for Batavia as well. But a cut and miss there to make it 3-2. And funny things happening on our scoreboard right now. I did not know the strike column on our scoreboard here at Sal Magley goes all the way up to 9.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering why the strike zone or the strike number would go up to that count, and after 2 strikes, it would be a strikeout.
Strike 9 can happen in an inning, but not in an at-bat.
Yeah, it's kind of a interesting approach for that scoreboard.
Payoff pitch, swung on and missed. Jackson Inman chases the outside strike, and Carter Hall has his first punch out of the game. Strikes out Inman for the 2nd time today. We'll send it to the bottom of the 5th after the break.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Hey fans, you or someone you know have a birthday coming up? Why not spend it with the Americans? Packages include 10 tickets, 2 large Sammy's pizzas, 10 drinks, a customized Wegmans cake, autographed Americans baseball, and special recognition at the game, starting at just $175. Sign up online at www.niagarafallsamericans.com.
That birthday package sponsored by Wegmans and Sammy's Pizza. Speaking of Wegmans, they also sponsor the Kids Run, which we'll keep it here for at the end of this inning. Carm Panaro, Chris Gazaldo, and Nick Past up first. Panaro takes one over his head for ball one. Panaro, a double his first time up. Big cut and miss there to even up the count. Carmen Panaro has really been a big hitter for this team over the course of the season. His 4th extra baser in this game. 1-1 is low, but finds the low edge of the strike zone. Gavin Chandler has been dominating out there on the bump. Panaro looking for his 2nd hit of the day with the count against him, but it's just on that outside corner for strike 3 looking. Gavin Chandler has struck out 4 batters out of 6. Chris Gazaldo up next.
Yeah, that
also,
ball.
6 consecutive batters retired.
Yeah, that ball seemed to just be outside there on Carmen Panara, but umpire still calls it a strike. So now we got Chris Gazaldo up here for the Americans.
Gazaldo takes one in for ball 1. Sack fly his first time up. 299 hitter on the season. Grounder down the third baseline, foul. One's across the board to Gazaldo. Gazaldo just below that 300 marker after his recent All-Star nod. Looking to get back up there. Would likely take multiple hits in this game. Sack fly helps though, and Chris Gazaldo takes one on the foot. Hit by pitch, and in 2 times up to the plate, no registered at bats for Chris Gazaldo. Sack fly first, and now he's been hit. Nick Past up next. Past singled his first time up. And it'll be a meeting on the mound. Gavin Chandler has gone just over four innings of work here. 4 1/3 so far. There's already action in the Muckdogs pen. Gavin Chandler, you expect him to go longer given how he's doing, but on an innings limit this season. So possible he gets pulled early in favor of the Muckdogs pen. We'll see what Batavia decides here with Nick Past set to hit. Possibly a lefty getting replaced by a righty here. Would force a same-handed matchup, but Gavin Chandler hangs in there for now. It'll be an opposite-handed left-on-right matchup. Chandler versus the righty Past. Nick Past already has 1 hit today. Be a good time for the second. Americans had the 1-0 lead, but 3 unanswered for Batavia. The Americans looking to climb back in this. It's 1-0 to Past. And Gazaldo has a lead on for the first time today. Americans looking for their 6th hit of the day. And the pickoff attempt at first, no success there. Past. With Kiefer on deck, the Americans looking to get something going in the bottom of the 5th on Gavin Chandler, who seems to be tiring out but finds the outside corner of the zone to put once across the board. Chandler had a dominant stretch, retiring 6 consecutive batters with 4 strikeouts. Can he get back to that here, or will he start to wear down? Pass fouls that on the pop-up, out of play. Kid's gonna chase it down in hopes of getting some free snacks. A reminder, if you're here at the game, that all foul balls can be exchanged for snacks here at the barbershop.
Hey, kids really hunt those balls down, and all game down at concessions you'll find kids trying to get some candy and whatnot. So It's always a good deal for those kids.
Pandemonium here at the ballpark. And the one time they'll stop is during the kids' run coming up after this inning. Chandler has it 1-2 to pass. It's outside to even up the count. Nick Pass, a very hot start to the season. Started to pick it back up again of late. Had a home run against the Ironbacks about a week ago. High fly ball into right field foul territory. Vaughn is chasing it down, makes the grab just to the right of the foul line. 2 down, 1 on as Connor Kiefer's up next. Kiefer, the foul ball to the third base side, his first time up. Retired him back in the second inning. Looking to avoid the inning ending right here. But Chandler looking to complete his 5th inning of work. Would most likely end his day given the bullpen action for Batavia. Oof. Down and in, hits Connor Kiefer. Kiefer has been hit 3 times in 2 days and has just continued to take a beating the entire season.
Yeah, it's no rest for the weary as Connor Kiefer gets plunked again, like you said, and seems to be time for the bullpen to come into play here for the Muckdogs.
Yeah, meeting on the mound, coaching staff coming out. Up here's Chandler, is finishing his day right here after 4 2/3. Hit 2 batters this inning. It's a sensible move given his innings limit. Connor Kiefer has been hit by the pitch 9 times this season.
Yeah, that's not a good look for the pitchers against Kiefer, but takes it like a champ. I'm sure he's had a couple bruises and marks there from those pitches, but he's a sturdy man. He'll take those pitches and take his free base.
Indeed he does. Gavin Chandler's day is officially done. His final stat line in this game, 4 2/3 innings, 5 hits, 1 run. That was earned and no walks allowed, but 2 batters hit by the pitch compared to 4 strikeouts. Luke Rising relieves Gavin Chandler. This is another dominant arm for Batavia. Rising 2-1 with a 1.37 ERA and 30 strikeouts. Has been arguably the most dominant arm out of this Muckdogs pen. Started games over at RIT in the spring, but on an innings limit, the Muckdogs opted to use him in more of a bullpen role.
Yeah, I mean, that 30 strikes out sticks out like a sore thumb to me. I mean, especially with a guy coming out of the bullpen, that's a really strikeout category, and my goodness, his ERA too, a 1.37. That's very low too. So this guy's clearly got the stuff, and definitely going to be a challenge here for the Americans.
Going to be tough to face. Rising, bringing the heat in even his warm-ups. Tommy Mathay with 2 ducks on the pond, looking to expand this inning. And give the kids some more time to chase down foul balls and tire them out ahead of racing Yankee Doodle Dan around the bases.
Yeah, I mean, maybe Rosin here can force some foul balls too to get those kids some extra balls, but looks like most of the kids right now are down with that first base line at the gate with Yankee Doodle Dan right now, so might have to wait a little bit for that.
I mean, I'm a rare case because I've been interested in broadcasting since I was 10 years old, but if I was just your average kid here at this ballpark, I don't know if I'd go for those foul balls before the kids' run starts. I'd save my energy. Then maybe there's a shot against Yankee Doodle Dan.
Yeah, you got to conserve yourself and get your legs ready, maybe get a couple stretches in just to make sure you can leg it out against Yankee Doodle Dan.
Oh, yeah, get in full track position, get ready to go. It's hard to beat Yankee Doodle Dan, especially those kids. Shorter legs than him. I mean, I'm 21 years old and I still got shorter legs than Yankee Doodle Dan, but not quite the difference with those kids.
I gotta say, some of those kids look like about half the size of Yankee Doodle Dan, and his legs might be the size of those kids entirely. So, yeah, he's definitely got the leg up in the race, one might say. So,
yeah. Pun intended right there?
Oh, definitely there.
Oh, for sure. But Luke Rising, 2-1 with a 1.37 ERA and 30 strikeouts. Gavin Chandler is not win eligible unless the Muckdogs can somehow shorten this game. So Rising with a big opportunity. If the Muckdogs hold on to their lead, he will get his 3rd win of the season.
Looks like Rising here has to change his cleats. He might have some metal spikes. It's a big no-no here at Sal Magley.
Yeah, no metal spikes allowed here at the barbershop. A couple of years ago, players had to play shoeless here due to the rule at the stadium.
Yeah, it's definitely
As
not
the legend says.
Yeah, it's definitely not something you see picture sitting by the foul line putting his shoes on, so it's gonna have a different look, but rules are rules, so you gotta follow them. So
Luke Rising, I mean, gotta wonder what kind of shoes he had available, if he has non-metals or if he's just putting on some sneakers to pitch.
yeah, I mean, not sure exactly if it's metal spikes. I would guess it's probably metal spikes, but we don't know for sure. But regardless, there's being a shoe change here on the mound.
I mean, back on the day of the Buffalo Diesel game, we were under the impression it might be an intern game. Had a whole lineup set up and everything, and I was set to just play my sneakers. I don't own any cleats personally.
Yeah.
I don't even own a baseball glove, so I don't know how I was pulling that one off, but nonetheless, was ready to go in case of that scenario.
Yeah, I mean, I got some old rugby cleats. They're more like soccer cleats, but I'm sure they would hold up on a turf like this. We played on a couple turf fields, so it would hopefully work. But
I mean, Luke Rising, this is his 3rd time playing here this season. You'd think he'd know the rule by now, not
Yeah.
to put those metal spikes on.
well, sometimes some players like to pull off fast ones, and maybe he decided to try. Hey, let's see if I can get some metal spikes on. Maybe nobody checks, but
Yeah.
it seemed like the umpire knew. So
These umpires are told before every single game about that metal spikes rule. They're well aware. It's been in existence ever since the turf field was installed here at Sal Magley. It's a rule of the city of Niagara Falls.
yeah, I was just about to ask Andrew. I'm not sure why it's a rule, but people have rules for unknown reasons, and I guess the city tries to impose that rule along with the no seeds here as well as.
No sunflower seeds, more due to the bird problem here at the
Yeah, I
stadium.
mean, players still find ways around it by spitting their seeds into bottles, which I guess could still be such as effective as long as the seeds make it to the garbage receptacles. And
Yeah, just don't leave them around as long as they're not on the fields. Calls to throw him out, but he will stay in for the time being. With some new shoes and 2 down. Tommy Mathay, his first customer, takes the outside strike. So, I mean, Rising painting that corner and seems unfazed by the shoe change thus far, but we'll see what happens.
yeah, I mean, usually some guys have their certain ways and certain, specialties in their shoes, but yeah, it seems Rising just went out there and threw a nice strike after that shoe change.
Cameron Koppel playing very deep at second base, but it's now 1-1. Castro playing a little bit further in. But yeah, pitchers are known to be very much creatures of habit. And Rising having his habits thrown off by the shoe change right there. Another outside ball. That's 2 consecutive after the early strike. So maybe I stand corrected. I mean, very small sample size. So let's not judge Foley just yet. But Tommy Mathay looking to load up these bases with a walk or even potentially score the runner from second base, Chris Gazaldo. Big cut and miss. Evens up the count and puts 2s across the board. Mathay has his Panola teammate Chris Gazaldo on second. He has Connor Kiefer on first. Can he advance them or knock them in? Big moment for Luke Rising and a big test of how he might look the rest of the day. No pitch there. Timeout. Called. Umpire holding up the stop signs to Luke Rising.
Yeah, it looks like he still threw that pitch across. I'm not sure if it would have been called a ball or a strike, but regardless, a good thing there. A little bit of a late call by the umpire.
No call.
Yeah.
No pitch called. It's still 2-2. The timeout canceling out the pitch despite the fact that one was thrown. 2-2 pitch fouled off to keep Mathay alive. Luke Rising looking for his first strikeout of the day. Chandler finished with 4. The first one came to start off this 5th inning, but after hitting 2 out of 3 batters who are both on base right now, Chandler was pulled from the game. Twos across the board. Here's the pitch. Just outside to fill up this count. Luke Rising with some pressure on him. Just minutes into his relief outing. Tommy Mathay has already singled once today. A hit here likely scores his teammate Gazaldo, especially with the chemistry between the two of them. Payoff pitch here, swing and a miss. Mathay chases the outside strike. Luke Rising sends down Tommy Mathay. And Rising likely to continue in the 6th inning, but we'll keep it here for the time being as Yankee Doodle Dan ready to face off with some kids in the Wegmans Kids Run.
Yeah, it's always interesting to see Yankee Doodle Dan try to run across these bases, which he does with great succession as he's still undefeated on the season.
Some close calls, especially on the 4th of July against these Muckdogs, but we'll see what happens here. A lot of younger kids today. I don't expect a loss for Yankee Doodle Dan. This is a blowout. Yankee Doodle Dan, have a day. And finding Apollo at the end there, and now standing a high five the kids as they come in. Not even a competition. Yankee Doodle Dan, we'll give you your flowers. Just unbeatable. Like a road runner out there. And we'll send it to the top of the 6th inning now. 6th inning brought to you by Niagara County Legislator Chris Robbins, Laborers Local 91, and Wegmans. Andrew Roberts still here. Luke Blandino's day is done. Carter Hall in for the 2nd inning of work. Avery Vogt will be back on the broadcast in just a moment as Hall warms up for his 2nd inning of work. And as we wait for Avery Vogt's return, James Bolton coming up, the first customer of this 6th inning to face Carter Hall. Bolton 0 for 2 with a ground out and a fielder's choice. Came around to score on the fielder's choice, and it's 1-0 to start off this at bat. Bolton looking for his first hit of the day, would be getting on for the 2nd time. And another one high to put the count in his favor. And Avery, welcome back. 2-0 count to James Bolton. What can he do to keep up the good work in this at bat?
I mean, so far it seems he's been patient, and Carter Hall seems to get a strike in on there, so he's definitely got to be more ready for these pitches as Carter Hall, looks to keep attacking.
Definitely, and Bolton, James Bolton, takes the 2-1 and winds it into center field for the base hit. He's the first base runner on for Batavia this inning, just their 3rd hit of the day, but the Muckdogs have scored 3 runs. Big reason for that was Luke Blandino's walks. 4 batters walked in the 4th inning, drove in 2 of the 3 Muckdogs runs. The 3rd coming in on the sac fly in inning number 5. After the Castrotaro triple. Big cut and miss by the new batter Vaughn for strike 1. Kyle Vaughn has struck out and singled in this game. Advanced to 2nd on the throw when he had his base hit. Strike 2. Carter Hall looking for his 2nd strikeout of the day. Can he retire Kyle Vaughn after striking out Jackson Inman to end the 5th inning? 0-2 pitch is a high chopper foul. Keeps Vaughn alive for the time being. Bolton eager to take second base, but has to go back.
Yeah, it looked like he had a little bit of a jump there, ready to run towards second, had that ball stayed in play and try to stay out of double play.
James Bolton, interestingly enough, did not see that much playing time early in the season, despite a great 2024 with Batavia. Cooper Fesh and Cooper Romick better behind the dish than Bolton, but his bat in this lineup is a very valuable one. And I think it's a smart move by the Muckdogs to get him back in the mix, especially with Braden Reyna shut down for the season after getting injured against these Americans. 0-2 pitch fouled off to the left side. Kyle Vaughn fighting here with the 0-2 count. Been 5 pitches from Hall to Vaughn.
Yeah, Vaughn just seems to keep fouling these balls off.
So Americans up to 100 total pitches on the day. Here's the 0-2 again. High pop-up again, foul territory and out of play. And compared to the 100 combined between Blandino and Hall, the Muckdogs have only thrown 72 pitches through 5 innings. Gavin Chandler was pulled after 4 2/3 anyways because of those hit batsmen. Swing and a miss right there. Carter Hall sends Kyle Vaughn packing. Second strikeout of the day and first out of the inning for Carter. Cooper Fesh up next. He's struck out and reached on a wild pitch as well as walked. So he's reached base twice. But first time around, Luke Blandino initially won the battle, but lost the war. Strike one on the outside edge to Fesh. It's 0-1 on the count. Cooper Fesh, another one of those big bats in this Muckdogs order, came into the day batting north of 340. 0-1 pitch just outside to put ones across the board. An interesting move by Skip Martinez to put Kyle Vaughn ahead of Cooper Fesh in the order. High hopes for Kyle Vaughn after he was signed just a couple days ago. Hall, with the count even, delivers outside for ball 2. And James Bolton has been on first base since that leadoff hit right up the middle on the line shot. Just the third Muckdog to record a hit in this game. Can Fesh be the fourth? Not yet. He takes another ball outside. Walk here would put runners on first and second at the very least for Justin Espinal. And Justin, not an easy batter to retire, especially for these Americans this season.
Yeah, he's definitely been a dangerous hitter against these Americans, and with 2 runners on, it's definitely something you want to avoid here.
3-1 pitch. Finds the outside corner. Carter Hall painting the corner and filling up the count. A nice paint job there to get him back in this at-bat. Fesh, the extra hitter tonight. Looking to do something big on the payoff from Hall. It's low and in for ball 4. Runners on first and second. Cooper Fesh takes his second walk of the day. And a big threat for Batavia, Justin Espinal. And I go back to my earlier statement about runners on and 1 out. Carter Hall ideally looking for a strikeout or double play here, but a line out or pop out could also be very effective in holding these runners on their respective bases. Line shot into center field. Grant Moore chases it down and makes the grab for out number 2. Runners hold, and there's that line drive I was talking about, Avery.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Andrew, you pretty much called it to a T as Grant Moore catches that ball, and runners decide to hold up, and seems to be avoiding some damage down here by the Muckdogs. So just one more out to get out of this inning and avoid any more damage, so the Americans can be still within 2 to tie this game.
That's the kind of contact you want to force. And now, Cameron Koppel will be the last shot at runs for Batavia in this inning. Inside for ball 1. Koppel has Cooper Fesh on first base and James Bolton on second. Both capable of catching, but funny enough, neither of them catching tonight as Cooper Romick is behind the dish. Americans had a lineup like this early in the year where oftentimes 3 catchers or even 4 catchers were in multiple different spots, whether it be catcher, first base, DH, EH. The Muckdogs also a very catcher-heavy team.
Yeah, it seems like the start of the season, the Americans kind of going with almost the same approach, and Delanto played a lot of DH and EH, but now we've seen a few more games behind the plate as some of the catchers have departed.
Only 2 catchers left, unless you count Shane Prey, who's mostly played in the infield. Fly ball into right center. Carm Panaro makes the grab for out number 3. We'll send it to the bottom of the 6th. The Americans still just 2 runs behind Batavia as we come back after the break.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the 3rd inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
Remember, fans, an Americans game is a great way to enter in a group for the evening, and we're able to offer fundraisers tailored to your group needs. Nonprofits, churches, youth sports, and more. For all group information, please visit our website at www.niagarafallsamericans.com.
And what better night to bring in a group than tomorrow night? It'll be 7-1-6 night here at the ballpark as the Americans host the Tarp Skunks. First pitch at 6:30. So the entire Niagara Falls community brought together. And this team, the Americans, they have a lot of local players, but also some out-of-towners. And they've been trying some local foods, including sponge candy. Was tried on camera today by some out-of-towners such as Graham Moore, who's due up this inning. But Avery, I want to ask you in our own food debate, in our own food debate, main meal I have outside of this ballpark is breakfast, and part of pretty much every breakfast I eat back home includes eggs. So I want to ask you, Avery, what your favorite kind of egg is.
So, yeah, Andrew, I'm not usually the biggest egg guy, but when the situation does come for me to eat eggs, I usually like them scrambled. My mom's a little bit different. She likes them sunny side up on some toast, so she's always got that in her back pocket. But, yeah, I'm just a regular old scrambled kind of guy.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of sunny side personally, but scrambled or hard-boiled will do for me. Also, Sometimes a fried egg on a sandwich, but 1-0 to Grant Moore. Swing and a miss to even things up. Moore, among those who tried the sponge candy today, Alan Ramos and Gavin Boyle to follow him up. Boyle, the only true 7-1-6er of the three.
Yeah, but
An outside ball 2 to Grant.
But from being from Buffalo, Andrew, I'm born and raised 7-1-6, but man, sponge candy, it's like a delicacy in Buffalo. Everyone goes crazy. For years I've learned and came to discover that it's not just a thing known or nationally. It's almost strictly located in Buffalo, just sponge candy, and I really thought that people knew about this great, I guess, dessert you could call it. Sponge candy is great. I could eat that for days.
Yeah. I mean, not many candies like that in the New England area. Definitely some restaurants. I mean, my favorite Italian place, Bertucci's, only in that area. But in there for strike 3 on Grant Moore, and this is rare to see Grant Moore strike out twice in a night. The Muckdogs have perhaps done the best against Moore this season.
Yeah, it seems like they got his name card highlighted in the dugout, and they just know that this is a guy you don't want to get on or allow him to get a hit. So they've done very well against Grant Moore. Unfortunate for the Americans, though. But Alan Ramos coming up here, also a dangerous hitter and speedy man on the bases.
I mean, the Tarp Skunks have been doing their homework on these Americans as well. We'll see how that pays off this week. But Ramos, choke bunt, pulled it back. It's ball 1 to him. Alan Ramos, also an out-of-towner, but is from the state of New York. Attended high school in the Bronx, so closer to the city. Strike 1 down the pike to even up the count. Luke Rising still in the game. A nice ending to the 5th inning, striking out Mathey, and now a second strikeout in a row to retire Grant Moore. One's across the board here, and it's a grounder down the first base line, ruled foul. Looked like it was on a fair trajectory and then headed towards the foul side as it got past the infield.
Yeah, it looked like maybe my eyes are deceiving me, but I could have sworn that ball rolled over the first base bag, but I'm not a professional umpire or anything, so we'll leave it to that guy to call it. So
yeah,
rolls foul there on Ramos.
I mean, I'll give these umpires credit where credit's due. A much cleaner game than Sunday's game, or Saturday's game rather, against the Pioneers. Swing and a miss by Ramos, though, and Luke Rising has just dazzled on the bump.
Yeah, and like we said before, Andrew, his strikeout numbers are very high. I believe now he's within the 32 range now, and that's just a crazy number for me, as he just knows how to get the swing and miss stuff.
Yeah, Rising up to 33 strikeouts, actually. The other strikeout coming against Tommy Mathey at the end of inning number 5. Gavin Boyle looking to avoid striking out for the second time. Chandler got him last time around. Breaking ball, the backdoor slider called for strike 1 there.
That's some nasty movement on an Andrew. That ball looked like it was going to sail outside the box, and last second just cuts right back into that box. Gets a nice first strike there.
Target that borders on a sweeper.
Yeah. Sweeper's a very nice pitch to have in your arsenal.
Definitely the 0-1. That's straight down outside on the fastball by Rising to make it 1-1. I was hoping Boyle would chase after some excellent spin on his first pitch, but Gavin does not bite. Boyle fouls off the next one to make it 1-2, and Luke Rising is 1 strike away. Boyle certainly swinging for the fences before his first home run this season, but since he's gotten the monkey off his back, not only has he hit 2 more, also has become a more patient hitter at the plate.
Yeah, and we've talked about it all season, Andrew. Patience is what we'd like to see out of these Americans.
High chopper there, and it is ruled a foul ball. Dropped foul before it came into the infield. Braden Miller brings the umpire some more baseballs. He's in the hole. Delanto on deck. Gavin Boyle looking to get something going after 2 consecutive strikeouts started the bottom of the 6th inning. Lights are on here at Sal Magley, and they could not be brighter for these Americans. Playoff caliber matchup. Will the Americans show up when they need to? Swing and a miss. Gavin Boyle strikes out, and Luke Rising has struck out the side. 4 consecutive batters struck out, including 3 in a row this inning. We'll send it to the top of the 7th after the break.
You know, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Yankee Doodle Dance.
That's better.
Voice
Top
changed
of
for
the
a second there,
seventh
Doc.
inning here from Niagara Falls. The Muckdogs are going to close this one out down the stretch, but Carter Hall entering his third inning of work, hoping to keep this within reach for the Niagara Falls Americans. And I mean, it's been a struggle against Luke Rising, but the Americans can manage to knock him out. Still a shot to win this game. They're out hitting the Muckdogs. Can they outscore them? We'll have to see. This top of the seventh inning is brought to you by Elks Lodge, Bikers Against Child Abuse, the Stalka Agency, and Red Robin Gourmet Burgers and Brews. And I'll give some credit to some of our opponents here. I mean, Red Robin, some great burgers, but the best burger I've had from an opposing stadium, also given to me for free, some great hospitality over in Canada. The Niagara Ironbacks, always a good burger over there. I love it.
Yeah, it would seem to be a kind of a conundrum there, as you would think an American team would have the best burgers, but no, it's a Canadian team that has the best ones. So that kind of surprised me a little bit there, Andrew, but props to them for making such a good burger.
It's ball one, Aromic here. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I've had a couple of burgers in my time in Canada. I'd say almost every one of them has been one of the best burgers I've had. I don't know what it is. They're making our foods better than we are over here.
Yeah,
but it's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's not something you see every day, but yeah, I've had some pretty good burgers myself. But one thing I can definitely say when I'm eating a burger is Texas Roadhouse always has the best ones.
Slide by Kiefer on the ball up the middle and gets the out at first base. Connor Kiefer does it again.
Wow.
I mean, we talk about Justin Espinal as an American killer. I think Connor Kiefer has earned the title of Muckdog killer, at least on defense.
Yeah, this infield for the Americans have had their work cut out. Ramos and Kiefer both been really helping out on defense, but Kiefer just makes an amazing play there. Somehow grabs that ball and gets over to first to get the first out here for Carter Hall.
What a play by Kiefer. I mean, back to our burger discussion. I feel like the only burger that's even somewhat let me down on the Canadian side of the border is from Rainforest Cafe, and that's an American chain. So even the American restaurants in Canada are not doing as well as the Canadian restaurants. And just people grilling over at George Taylor Field. But
yeah, I would say best places to get hot dogs or even burgers is just ballparks. Ballparks do it the best anywhere. I got to say, though, Salem Field down in Buffalo, best hot dogs. Always selling
ball
Salem's.
in the right field, caught by Panaro for out number 2. But yeah, hot dogs, I'll stick to the U.S. That's a different story. Tyler Castratara retired for the second time today. Fenway Franks, got to be my favorite hot dogs out there.
But yeah, like we say, Andrew, both in agreement, good hot dogs, but coming from ballparks, like we say.
Here at Fat Rabbit in St. Catharines. Recommendation from the Moore family for a burger. Have to try that next time I'm out there. But 2 down, Braden Horton, the next customer for Carter Hall. It's strike 1 to Horton, who has walked, hit into a sac fly, and grounded into a double play. So he's 0 for 1 on the day. Low ball 1 to even up the count. Received an update that the Tarp Skunks are now up 10-8 in the bottom of the 5th inning against the Newark Pilots. A high-scoring game there. I mean, if it's one thing that benefits the Americans out of that one, the Tarp Skunks tiring out their pitching staff. But an outside ball, 2, to put the count in Horton's favor here. Looking to walk for the second time today.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Andrew, those Tarp Skunks, like we've mentioned before, coming in tomorrow. So with their tired pitchers, hopefully the Americans could take advantage of that.
2-1. Braden Horton is just on that outside edge of the strike zone. Carter Hall has had great command of the zone tonight. Just 1 run allowed in 2 2/3 innings and looking for out number 3 in the 7th right here. Can he do it? Had a very nice outing last time out against Geneva as well. And it's a high fly ball into left center field. Boyle is there to make the grab for out number 3. Coming in from left to retire the side. Muckdogs go down 1-2-3. Carter Hall, a strong 7th inning, perhaps his strongest of the day so far. We'll send it to the bottom of the inning after the break.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Hey fans, the Niagara Falls Americans would love to partner with your business. The Americans have lots of options to make your presence known in your community. Please visit our website at www.niagarafallsamericans.com to get involved, and as always, go Americans.
Bring you back for the bottom of the 7th inning. And if you join the Americans as a sponsor, can have your business heard right on our sponsor reads here on the broadcast. Always looking for new members of that. Paul Delanto kicked things off for the Americans this inning. He'll be followed up by Graydon Miller and Carmen Panaro. Delanto, the only one of the 3 without a hit. He's 0 for 2. Ground out and a fly out so far. Both the balls to the left side, one to the shortstop Castrataro and one to the left fielder Sean Mindas.
Andrew, I'd just like to take a second to shout out to the Americans' own Matt Barr yesterday, getting taken by the Twins, 149th pick overall. It's a great look for him and for his future with that team.
Breaking ball finds the low edge of the zone for strike 1. So yeah, Matt Barr finding his future, but Luke Rising with his own dominant spin out of the bump. Almost Matt Barr-esque. Another big cut and miss, and Paul Delanto has really been fooled by Rising so far.
Yeah, that pitch there, Delanto just seemed to be a little confused and thrown off by that pitch, and Rising gets that swing out of him.
0-2 pitch. This one is more straight on, and it's fouled off on the pop-up. Delanto looking to get on for the first time today, and I mean, you shout out Matt Barr. He didn't have the chance to play for the Americans. Gavin Boyle, who has, also with a big honor yesterday, winning PGCBL Player of the Week. Line shot into right field, foul to keep Delanto alive. Paul Delanto, product of Stony Brook. Hasn't played yet in Division I, but this season with the Americans, in which he's driven in 21 runs. A great case to get some action next season. High fly ball into left field. Mindas won't have to move. Out number 1 is another fly out into left, similar to his knock in the first inning. So a little more on that could have gotten out of here, but not this time for Pauly.
Yeah, Delanto just gets another good piece of that ball, but flies all right to the left fielder there, Sean Mendez. But, yeah, like you said, Andrew, just a little bit more of a touch on that ball, and that ball would have been crushed, but fortunately gets their first out here against Delanto.
Delanto's been slumping a bit after a very hot start. It was him and Evan Core both in that department, but Core left the team over the weekend. Pretty unexpectedly, but 0-1 to Graydon Miller on the strike. Swing and a miss on the low pitch by Graydon. Rising, the 0-1. Inside and low at the feet of Miller, but one's across the board. So not every pitch is going to be right on target for Rising here. But overall has done an excellent job thus far. 4 strikeouts and 5 consecutive batters retired. One's across the board and another cut and miss to put the count back in Rising's favor. Graydon Miller has singled and flown out, looking to avoid being the next strikeout victim for these Muckdogs. Batavia, all in all, has struck out 8 Americans today. Outnumbers their 5 hits on the day. High chopper to Castrataro, drops in front of him, the throw, not in time. Graydon Miller reaches on the infield single, his second hit of the day. 6th for the Americans, so Graydon Miller responsible for a third of the Americans' knocks. First American with multiple today.
Yeah, that ball didn't even make it out of the infield, but just the way it bounced and rolled, and Graydon Miller can beat it out and get to first.
Definitely. It was a nice bounce in the shallow infield. Castrataro has to come in for it, and it's not an easy throw from there. Kind of an awkward angle for Tyler Castrataro. Carm Panaro with the chance to advance Graydon. Already has a double today in addition to a strikeout looking. Takes one low for ball 1. Rising was hoping for that backdoor slider again, but just too low on that pitch.
Yeah, that pitch seemed to have some nasty break on it, but fortunately didn't even get the strike zone or even the swing on that one, but he gets it there.
Big cut and miss right there. Familiar for Carmen Panaro. He had a couple of those against Gavin Chandler before striking out looking. Chandler set him up, giving him pitches that looked hittable, and then threw one that he didn't chase and got him anyways. 2-1-1. Balls, strikes, outs to Carmen Panaro as he takes another low ball. Pickoff attempt unsuccessful on Miller. The times that Miller's been caught on the base paths this season, oftentimes after a hit when he attempts for extra bases. And he's had his fair share of extra base knocks, just working on the reads of when it's okay to take extra bases. Swing and a miss to even back up this count on Panaro. Americans have Chris Gazaldo on deck. 2-2 pitch is in there on the outside corner. Panaro sent down looking for the second consecutive time. Luke Rising has strikeout number 5 for himself and strikeout number 9 for the Muckdogs as a whole.
Yeah, that pitch there, maybe a little questionable, but regardless, the umpire calls strike 3 and rings up Panaro there.
Chris Gazaldo up next. Batting .299, looking for his first hit on his first true at bat of the day. A low strike 1 to Gazaldo here. Gazaldo hit by the pitch and out on a sac fly his first 2 times up. Has Miller on first. Check swing, and they will say that he went on that one. Strike 2 to Gazaldo. Luke Rising 1 strike away from his 6th strikeout of the day. High fly ball into right field. It's shallow. Vaughn coming in, makes the grab. for out number 3. We send it to the 8th inning. Can the Americans make the comeback, or will Luke Rising continue this excellent day? We'll have to see when we're back in the 8th.
No, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
New pitcher for the Americans, it's Austin Barton coming in for Carter Hall after 3 innings of 1-run ball from Carter. Barton is 0-1 with a 10.97 ERA and 7 strikeouts, but another example of why ERA is not exactly the most fair stat. Barton had a rough outing against the Tarp Skunks in which he gave up 8 runs in a single inning, but other than that, has been pretty solid for these Americans.
Yeah, like you said, Andrew, ERA is not always the best stat to look at when it comes to a pitcher, as you know, sometimes, some days, things just don't go your way. But yeah, Austin, definitely one of those pitchers you can definitely rely on, regardless of his ERA. So we'll see how he does here against these tough Muckdogs.
Been a while since he last pitched. It was July 5th against these Muckdogs when he pitched 2 innings, and it was quality stuff out of the bullpen coming in for Hurley and Kasperwitz. This 8th inning here on the Americans Baseball Network is brought to you by Seneca Niagara Resort and Casino, the official casino of the Americans. More winning, more comfort, more entertainment. Go to SenecaNiagaraCasino.com for more. And I've had a couple of fun times over at Seneca Niagara. A free slot play coming on every Americans ticket.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, I'm not old enough to use that free play, Andrew, but you are, so you always have fun with that. I mean, it would be nice to use, but like I said, I'm unfortunately not of age yet to use that here in America.
Yeah. You have to try the food over at Seneca Niagara. But I hear there's some good restaurants there as well. And speaking of restaurants, Mark Witt, our general manager and owner here at the Americans, shouting out another great restaurant that sponsors the Americans. A big shout out to Sammy's Pizza for all they do here for the Americans, the official pizza provider here at Sal Magley. And so much other good food there. Mott sticks I've tried, wings, you name it. They have anything and everything under the sun.
Yeah, they got a lot of great food over there, and I mean, within a stone's throw away from the stadium too, so you couldn't ask for a better restaurant to sponsor the team here.
1-1 pitch drops low to put the count in Mindos's favor. Sean Mindos leading off this 8th inning for the Muckdogs, followed up by Jackson Inman and James Bolton. A tough first 3 customers for Barton. Ground ball to Ramos at short. The throw to first in time for out number 1. That's a much-needed out for the Americans. Well on their way to a clean inning against a tough part of this Muckdogs order.
Yeah, I mean, that ball just rolls right to Ramos, and I mean, he is a brick wall on defense. Not much is going to get by him, and to back that up too, he's got a cannon of an arm, so you know that ball is getting to first base with some giddy up on it.
Alan Ramos has been a rocket short and done well with the bat as well. Very consistent. Another high chopper. This time Gazaldo fields it from third. 2 consecutive ground outs on 2 consecutive pitches. And James Bolton, the final hope for the Muckdogs in this 8th inning, in an effort to expand the lead.
Yeah, we got a Bolton-Barton matchup here. It's kind of almost a same last name kind of duel here, but just similar. So we'll see how this one goes.
Yeah, Bolton, James Bolton with a high ball 1. Yeah, Bolton and Barton, very similar names. I've been going with the James Bond reference for Bolton's name pretty much every time now. Kind of stuck. Last time, we were on the call for an Americans Muckdogs game here on the Americans Baseball Network, but 2-0 to Bolton here. A low ball 3. Barton forced some nice soft contact, but his command of the strike zone has been inconsistent thus far. We'll see if he can recover from the 3-0 count. Kind of how it goes for Barton. When he's on, and when he's not, some 4-pitch walks like that can occur. We'll see if he can get back on track against Kyle Vaughn. Vaughn has struck out twice, but also singled. Advanced to second on the throw when he had his base hit. So he's 1 for 3, but very much an all-or-nothing hitter in this game thus far. We'll see which outcome it is here against Barton. A low ball 1 to Kyle Vaughn. And I mean, a lot of times you'll call guys with similar profiles to this 3 outcome hitters, the home run, strikeout, or walk, but in Vaughn's case, more softer contact for singles, doubles. So slightly different from your 3 outcome hitter, but 2 balls to the new batter, or yes, the same batter, Kyle Vaughn. And a meeting on the mound, Will Cordero coming out to discuss with the pitcher Barton.
Yeah, it seems like Barton just got to settle in here. I'm sure his mind's going 100 miles an hour, but Cordero goes out there trying to pump the brakes on him there just to settle into the game, and he'll be all right here.
Yeah, Barton looking to calm down and pump the brakes indeed. 6 consecutive balls, trying to break the streak with Bolton already on first base. Foul tip for strike 1.
I'm not sure if it did, but it looked like it just bounced off Delanto's helmet there.
Ooh, it's got to be rough for Paul.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'm not sure if it did, but he seems to be all right, still behind the plate there.
Swing and a miss to even things up. It's 2s across the board. Austin Barton. 6 consecutive balls have been followed up with a pair of strikes since. Can he finish the inning right here after 2 early groundouts? It's a high pop-up into foul territory. Miller's there. Makes the grab for out number 3. So there it is. Austin Barton escapes the inning with just a single walk. We send it to the bottom of the 8th. Americans running out of time to make this comeback. Can they do it in this inning? We'll be right back and find out.
My fellow American fans, my name is Frankie Morris, your social media manager. You can join us all summer long with many promotional nights and tickets just as low as $10. You can call and get tickets at 716-215-6161 and take a crack at the action.
Hey fans, we'd like to thank everyone for coming out to the park tonight, and remember that Americans game is a great way to bring your group together, whether it's to school, church, business, or youth sports organization. Americans are also able to offer great options and even picnics for your organization or business. Register your group online at www.niagarafallsamericans.com.
We bring you back for the bottom of the 8th inning, and it's a new pitcher for the Batavia Muckdogs. Their July 4th starter making another appearance, Eric Woodley, is 1-0 with a 4 ERA and 21 strikeouts. Very rough start to the season, but has been pretty dominant in the days since and did very well against these Americans on the 4th. So, I mean, this is just a stacked trio of pitchers for Batavia. They're bringing their best out against the Americans in this rivalry.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to do that over a 3-game series, but just a single game here, Avery.
Yeah, they're definitely not making it easy on the Americans. They're really bringing out their gunslingers, and they're just trying to pump the brakes on these Americans, so trying to stop anything that comes across the board here. So let's see how the Americans respond here.
And it's the bottom of their order here. Nick Pass, Connor Kiefer, Tommy Mathey due up to bat. And Pass fouls that off for strike 1. Nick Pass, 1 for 2 on the day, single and a foul out. And so in 1, swing and a miss here. Woodley following Wright and Rising's footsteps so far. Can he finish past in 3 pitches? Nick Pass looking for his second knock of the night. Takes one outside first. I mean, that's a nice take from Pass. You knew that one was clearly over the lefty batter's box. That's not one to swing at.
Yeah, Woodley there just trying to maybe change it up on Pass there and maybe reach on the ball, but Pass keeps the bat on his shoulder.
Another one, similar spot, a little closer, but Pass staying patient. Evens up this count at 2-2. Woodley gonna finish this here though, and he does. Swing and a miss. Nick Pass goes down. It's the 10th strikeout the Americans have had today, and I mean at this point, Muckdogs pitcher after Muckdogs pitcher with low ERAs coming in, but at a certain point the Americans have to show some more plate discipline, have to avoid the strikeouts. Cannot be striking out 10 times with only 6 hits in the ball game.
Yeah, it definitely seems like the Americans are trying to be a little bit more aggressive than usual. I would have liked them to be a little more patient, like we've said all year long. We love to see when batters are patient, but unfortunately today it just quite hasn't been their time.
I mean, patience got the Muckdogs 2 of their runs, but the Americans in a more dire situation, down 2, and they are playing with that purpose. They know they have to score runs, so playing aggressive here. That's over the head of Connor Kiefer to even things up. One's across the board to Connor. One's across the board to who other than number 1?
You could really entail the ones across the board with the at-bat being number 1 as well.
The Americans looking to exceed 1 run. It's a high chopper again to Castrotaro. And this time, the first baseman Espinal off the bag. Connor Kiefer reaches again. Ruled a single. Very similar to Graydon Miller's, but this time the throw a little bit more off target.
Yeah, just like that, looked like that throw just kind of was floated towards first base, and the first baseman over there, Justin Espinal, seemed to reach out and try to keep his foot on the bag, but reached a little too far and came off the bag, so Connor Kiefer's safe there over at first.
And number 1 followed up by who other than number 2? Tommy Mathey up next. Single and a strikeout so far. I mean, if they're going to bat back-to-back like this, might as well just start calling them thing 1 and thing 2 at that point. Ball 1 outside to Tommy Mathey.
Yeah.
I mean, they can run like the things in Dr. Seuss.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Mathey's even got the get-up like one of the things, too. He's got the red helmet to go along with their outfits.
Oh, yeah, definitely. The red, white, and blue matching things here. And also showing the American pride on the side. Getting those Dr. Seuss rhymes in there to go with the theme, but it's 2-0 to Tommy Mathey.
Yeah, Tommy Mathey here looking to hit the ball either way, and just going to try to get that runner across here with Connor Kiefer on first. Not quite in scoring position yet, but looking to drive some runners ahead here with Mathey at the plate.
2-0 pitch to 2 is in there on the outside edge for strike 1. Connor Kiefer singled. Would be real fun if Tommy Mathey could double. That would have potential to knock in Kiefer. Mathey, just 2 RBIs on the year. Matching the number on his jersey. High pop-up. Right to Jackson Inman. He calls for it. Makes the grab for out number 2. So wrong kind of 2 for the Americans right here. But Grant Moore is up next with the chance to advance Connor Kiefer. And Moore, we've been talking about speed this inning. Moore has more of it than even Kiefer and Mathey.
Yeah, I mean, Morris just, I mean, we've mentioned it all year. He's got those wheels that really can get him across. He's got 33 stolen bases on the season, so this would be a great time for Moore to get on base here and try to move Connor Kiefer across here.
Kiefer already has that lead on first base as he's had over these last couple at bats. The pop-up keeping him there. But Moore with a chance to extend the inning. He takes an inside ball one, has to dodge it at the legs.
Yeah, it seems like Woodley there was just trying to affect Grant Moore's speed there, aiming at his legs, but Grant Moore's got to step back and avoid that pitch.
Yeah. Kiefer takes off, and it's right back to the pitcher. Inning over. Grant Moore on the comebacker retired for out number 3. An unfortunate spot for that baseball. Grant Moore 1 for 4 on the night. We'll send it to the top of the 9th. The Americans only one more chance to come back, and that's if they keep it clean here in this top of the 9th inning. We'll be right back with the top of the inning.
Fans, if you've been to a game, you know that I give away pizza to a lucky fan in the middle of the 3rd inning. But what you might not know is that Sammy's is located right across the street. They've also been family owned and operated for 3 generations since 1962 and originated the half tray of pizza. But if you're hungry at the game, you can stop by the concession stand and get a slice of Sammy's for yourself.
We bring you back for the top of the 9th. Andrew Roberts here on the call. Avery Vogt will be back with us in just a moment, and Austin Barton's still out there for the Americans. This 9th inning is sponsored by Casella, Salino Plumbing, Blaze Brockway Contracting, and Wright Beverages. Cooper Fesh kicks things off for Batavia against Austin Barton. Justin Espinal and Cameron Koppel set to follow him up. And as we begin this 9th inning, give you a look around the West Division one last time. Tarp Skunks up 12-8 on the Pilots, a high-scoring game, tiring out the pitchers on both ends. And the Pioneers up 9-3 in the top of the 9th over Geneva, likely in position to win that game. But Jamestown and Newark, that game's still up for grabs. And Avery back with us on the call as Cooper Fesh is up to bat.
Yeah, we're looking here for some no-run ball here out of the Americans on defense.
Line shot gets past Gazaldo and Ramos for the base hit. So could be no run ball still, but not no hit ball from Barton.
Yeah, the
just
Americans.
an unfortunate placement.
Yeah, Americans here just trying to get it done here in crunch time, so they got to keep their runs limited here, try to get no runs across, and then they got to at least get 2 here to try to push this game to extra innings.
Definitely, and Justin Espinal with the chance to advance the runner. 0 for 2 on the day, but an RBI on his walk. So still found a way to be an American killer in this game. Pickoff attempt unsuccessful on Fesh at first. Espinal batting from the left side as he has all night long. It's been 3 right-handed pitchers for the Americans. First it was Blandino, then it was Hall, and now it's Austin Barton. First time the Americans have used 3 pitchers in a game in a while, and that's a wild pitch. Cooper Fesh easily takes second. First ball on the count gets past Paul Delanto in the dirt.
Yeah, just some unfortunate timing there for the Americans. Hasn't been too many pass balls getting past Delanto today, but in a time they needed to be precise, ball gets past Delanto, and now Muckdogs have a runner in scoring position.
So Fesh led off with a single, and now he's on second base. A runner in scoring position for Batavia. Looking to get this game out of reach for the Americans. The Americans still have one more shot to come back. It'll be Alan Ramos, Gavin Boyle, and Paul Dolasso due up in the bottom of the 9th inning. None of them have a hit today, but all capable hitters who certainly could add something in the hit column.
Yeah, this would be the time, too, to get a hit across, get a runner on, and try to score some runs here to tie up this game or even take the lead for the Americans.
Those are 3 of just 4 Americans without a hit. It's a swing and a miss for the first strike on the count here. So 2-1. Barton looking to retire his first batter of the inning. And the breaking ball is flown shallow into center field. Grant Moore's there for out number 1. And that'll hold Fesh at second. So a productive out for these Americans. Not productive as much for the Muckdogs. And Cameron Koppel due up next. Koppel stays in the game, no pinch hitter. Might have been the time for Batavia to use one, given Koppel came into this game with a fairly low batting average compared to the rest of the order at .217. However, Koppel will indeed come up to bat. Lights are on, and they are bright for these Americans. Line shot into deep center field. Moore backing up and on the run, makes the grab. Cooper Fesh still staying at second. He thought about third, but pumps the brakes. Back to second base. And it's 2 down in this game.
Yeah, it's another great out for the Americans. Keeping the runner on second with now 2 outs, so good way to try to put a stop sign here on the Batavia Muckdogs from scoring any runs.
How about Grant Moore? As usual, led off this game with a single. Hasn't had a hit since then, but his impact has shown on defense. 2 consecutive flyouts right into his glove in 2 very different spots of center field.
Yeah, I mean, he's an all-around baseball player. He can do everything. He can run, he can hit, he can play some defense, so that's just a great guy to have in this roster.
Just looking to add some power, but I mean, an MVP candidate here in the PGCBL nonetheless. And Cooper Romick takes the ball on the low outside corner. This will wrap up the 4th time through the Muckdogs order tonight. Barton throws one inside for ball 2. So 2 balls in opposite corners to start this off. We'll see if he can recover here or if he'll let a second base runner on to bring up Tyler Castrotaro. That's not a guy you want to see if you're Barton. He already tripled today. Line shot to Ramos. It bounces, but the throw to first will be in time for out number 3. That ends the top of the 9th. The Americans with a final shot to come back in this game. They're down 2 runs. Can they make the comeback? We'll find out when we're back from break.
No, I'm kind of thirsty.
Me too. We could really use something.
Yeah. Oh, thanks.
Yankee Doodle Dan.
That's better.
back for the bottom of the ninth, and the Muckdogs with some defensive substitutions and a new pitcher to close out this game. It's Garrett Beaver, another dominant arm for these Muckdogs. A lot of the guys that the Americans faced on July 5th when they lost in the bookend of the series, but Beaver is 2-0 with a 1.42 ERA and 17 strikeouts. The other defensive subs, Braden Horton moving over to first base to replace Justin Espinal, and Travis Hammond taking over in center. Hammond, a great defender out in center field. I like these moves for the Dogs.
Yeah, like you said, Andrew, Hammond's a great defender, so if there's any deep shots here by the Americans, I'm sure you can track them down.
Ramos just barely pulls back in time for ball one. But yeah, Travis Hammond will be tracking everything down if the Americans can hit him into center off of Beaver. In there for a low strike one on Ramos. Breaking ball working for Beaver early. Muckdogs looking to tie up the season series. The Americans with a win would clinch at least a tie to end this season. 8 times facing off, and the Americans already have 3 wins. Batavia looking for their third against Niagara Falls. Ramos, the dribbler, foul. Makes it 2-2. Alan Ramos is 0 for 3 on the day. Rounded into fielder's choice, has struck out twice since. Looking to avoid the 3rd time in a row. It's a softly hit ground ball to Cameron Koppel. Looking to beat it out. He will not get there in time. Alan Ramos, a nice effort, but a better throw from second base. Cameron Koppel retires him for out number 1.
Yeah, Ramos there looked like it was almost like a check swing that just kind of makes contact with the ball. And I mean, Ramos put his wheels on, but still, unfortunately, unable to beat it out at first base.
Gavin Boyle up next. Boyle's also 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts on his last 2 at-bats. And Ramos made contact off of Beaver. Can Boyle do the same and do more with it? Outside ball 1 to start us off in this at-bat. Boyle takes another one outside. Count in his favor. Looking for his first hit of the day after his PGCBL Player of the Week campaign. Has not had a hit since. Breaking ball outside again. It doesn't break back in how Beaver expected it to. Count at 3-0 to Gavin Boyle if this continues. Looking like a 4-pitch walk.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad luck for the Americans to get a runner on and have the tying run at the plate.
There it is. Outside ball 4. Garrett Beaver, generally a very effective pitcher, but his command of the strike zone shown to be a little flawed right there on the walk of Boyle. Americans have their tying run up to the plate. Paul Delanto, also 0 for 3 on the day. 2 flyouts and a ground out. Both his flyouts have been to Mindos in left field. Travis Hammond now joins them out there in center. Both of them second-year Muckdogs, as that one gets away from the catcher Romick, but no taken base for Gavin Boyle.
Yeah, it looked like he kind of took a step there trying to go to second, but decides not to go and pumps the brakes there to stay on first and keep the runner on first.
1-0 pitch is just outside and bounces out of the glove of Romick. Gavin Boyle being very careful about taking second base. Not exactly a base stealer on your typical Tuesday evening. 2-0, and that goes low. 7 consecutive balls for Garrett Beaver. And if this keeps up, the Americans with the chance to do some damage. Graydon Miller is on deck. He has a pair of singles. That's not a hitter that you want to mess with in this 9th inning. The Americans showing some fight. It's an upstairs ball for 2 4-pitch walks in a row. Delanto on first, Boyle on second, and Graydon Miller now represents the go-ahead run. The Americans with a chance for their first walk-off win of the entire season.
Yeah, it looks like we're going to have a little bit of a mound visit here just to see what's going on. And, yeah, like you said, Andrew, Graydon Miller, the winning run at the base, or at the plate, excuse me, and this would be a great chance for the Americans to at least try to tie it and hopefully even walk it off here with Graydon Miller. He's a very, very good hitter and could definitely get it done here for the Americans.
Yeah, Graydon Miller, a PGCBL All-Star, and has kept it up since. Chris Gazzaldo's been a little bit cold since his All-Star nod, but Moore and Miller really keeping up the good work. And Beaver, for the time being, going to hang in there. The Muckdogs have already used 3 pitchers. This is their 4th, so ideally don't want to bring out a 5th. And not only have they used 4 pitchers, they've also used 3 of their top 4 in ERA on the entire team.
Yeah, just a note, too, Muckdogs have Hollinsworth up in the pen, too, just in case this inning gets a little bit out of hand.
Eric Woodley, the other pitcher, to come in. But, yeah, the Muckdogs just looking to keep Beaver in check, and there's strike 1 to Miller. Dialing it back in. Boyle's the lead runner on second. Delanto behind him at first. Not really base-stealing threats, but they have leads in case of another wild pitch. Can get into scoring position. 0-1 to Miller. Breaking ball, drops too low. It's ones across the board. If Miller walks here, it juices the bases. There'd be nowhere to put Carmen Panaro. One pitch, lined into left field. Mindas is there, but it drops in front of him. The Americans load the bases. This game is far from over. 1 down, and the Americans threatening for their first walk-off win of the season. Graydon Miller has himself a 3-for-4 day.
Yeah, Graydon Miller there just gets a pitch he likes, and he just drives it to the shallow left field and just juices up the bases.
A bloop single, and just like that, Garrett Beaver is done. The Muckdogs don't even have that many other pitchers to this caliber to turn to. As I mentioned, 3 of their top 4 in ERA have been used, and Tyler Castrataro is the 4th. He's at shortstop.
Yeah, it seems like although the Muckdogs have had a very productive outing here with these pitchers, they just ran through a couple, and it seems like their helmets might be tired after this game, so we'll see how they rebound after this.
Yeah, even if they win this one, it's at what cost? And the Americans, with 8 hits in this game, they're showing their prowess at the plate. Will be good stuff to build on, even if the outcome on the scoreboard is not in their favor. So I'd argue, even if the Americans lose this one, they'll find a way to win outside of the win-loss column.
Yeah, there's always little games to play, and baseball is always, pitching duels and the bullpens, and just there's always little games to win in baseball. And like you said, Andrew, regardless if the Americans pull off this win, it's, I'd say, a good day for them besides the score.
Evan Hollinsworth, the next pitcher in for Batavia. Left-handed pitcher. And Hollinsworth has had a solid season, not quite to the caliber of those other 3. 1-2 with a 3.66 ERA and 20 strikeouts. Certainly has a swing and miss stuff, but we'll see what he can do. With the bases loaded and just 1 down, Carmen Panaro up next. Panaro, 2 strikeouts, but also a double, so Carmen Panaro today has been like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah, but the box of chocolates today is definitely the chocolate you'd like to eat, so.
Definitely. I mean, today it was sponge candy everyone was eating. But
But yeah, if it's sponge candy, Andrew, I got to go with milk chocolate. Oh, that sponge candy is terrific. I could eat a whole box of that.
Not actually a huge fan of milk chocolate, personally.
Really?
Or chocolate as a whole, but I'm more of a fruit-flavored candy fan.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, Andrew. I'm more of a fruity candy kind of guy. I mean, no shame in chocolate, though. I do like a nice piece of chocolate here and there, but I got to ask, if you don't like milk chocolate, are you a dark chocolate kind of guy? Or is it
Not
just
really. I'm not really a chocolate fan at all. I mean, if gun to my head, I had to try chocolate, I think I'd go dark because had a couple Hershey bars. Kind of disgusts me, so.
Oh, yeah, Andrew. I mean, you're eating Hershey's bars. Those taste like wax, but yeah.
Oh, God. Tastes like feet is my opinion. But
that's a weird way to put it, but yeah, I mean, like you said, if you'd have to try dark chocolate. I don't know. Dark chocolate's not really my thing. It's just like when I'm eating sponge candy, I want a nice milk chocolate.
There we go. But Carmen Panaro has struck out 2 times in a row, but that hasn't seemed to be a problem for the other hitters that have struck out 2 times straight. Gavin Boyle recovered with a walk, and now he's on third base, the lead runner. Delanto on second, Miller on first. There is nowhere to put Carmen Panaro. Hollinsworth throws that wild, but everybody stays on their bases. An amazing stop by Cooper Romick.
Yeah,
and not many catchers that would have avoided the run right there.
Yeah, Romick there just gets a paw on it and just kind of stops the ball there. I mean, he didn't quite get a whole grab on it, but he just stops it there from the the runners advancing there. So nice save by him.
Hollinsworth has struggled against these Americans in the past, but also has had some good outings. So far, 2-0 to Panaro. I don't think Hollinsworth was expecting to pitch this game. I think that could be playing a role here in his performance. But Panaro with the bases juiced and the chance to walk this off for the Americans. Double could clear the bases and do it, but that finds the outside corner for strike 1. Count's still in Panaro's favor. This patience paying off so far. He has not swung yet. And he struck out looking his last 2 at-bats. So got to swing at a certain point, but I like the patience so far. Left on left matchup, and that is way outside and goes wild. Run coming in. Gavin Boyle scores, and it's 2 runners in scoring position. Everybody goes. Americans cut the lead to 1.
Yeah, let's go, Andrew. I mean, that time Romick just can't stop the ball, and the run scores for the Americans, and now we're just 1-1 away from tying this, going to the extras. But from my perspective, I would love to see Graydon Miller come in to score as well to take the win and walk-off victory for the Americans.
Graydon Miller, the go-ahead run on second. Paul Delanto, the tying run at third.
Oh.
And now Carmen Panaro is intentionally walked. Unbelievable.
Andrew, I had no idea you could do that in the middle of the at-bat, but I guess so, and Panaro goes to first.
And Chris Gazzaldo, we talked about him as an X-factor at the start of the game. He's 0 for 1 with a flyout. And now the chance to win this game for the Americans. If he scores both runners in scoring position, this game is over. Another wild pitch, but this time Delanto stays more careful as Romick tracked that down pretty quickly. It's 1-0 with the score at 3-2.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Chris Gazzaldo here, I don't even know what I'm thinking. I'm probably shaking in my boots right now, but he's a calm and cool, collected player, so.
He's a PGCBL All-Star. I mean, high stakes are where he's going to have to thrive here in this 9th inning. Takes an upstairs ball, 2. There is nowhere to put Chris Gazzaldo after intentionally walking Panaro. If Gazzaldo walks, that means Delanto scores and this game is tied, goes to extra innings. At this point, the Muckdogs might be playing just not to lose, given the situation, but there's a strike down the pike. Still a chance for the Muckdogs to win this game cleanly, but it's not going to be easy. Need 2 outs and need to strand all 3 runners in order to do it. 2-1 pitch is upstairs and outside. Count still in Gazzaldo's favor. 1 more ball, and this game is tied. The Americans have always shown fight late in ball games. Can they do it here against these Muckdogs? Line shot into left field. It drops.
Go!
Second.
Yes!
4-3. This game is over. First walk-off win of the season. Oh my goodness! It's a party in Niagara Falls. Everybody on the field. Chris Gazzaldo's the hero. We called him the X Factor at the start of the game. X Factor indeed.
Oh my goodness!
This has got to be the most thrilling win of the entire season.
Wow, what a game, Andrew. The Americans down in this whole game, but Chris Gazzaldo walks it off for the Americans, and even better yet, free frappes for all the fans in the crowd. Wow, what a game.
And so clutch for the Americans. Down 3-1 until the 9th inning, and they come back and win. Walk-off win for the Americans. for the first time this season with just 9 games left after this one. And this is some great momentum to carry into the 3-game series against the Jamestown Tarpskunks. That starts tomorrow. First game will be right here at home. First pitch at 6:30 p.m. We'll have all the coverage right here for the entire series on the Americans Baseball Network. But Avery, thank you so much for coming on the call, really bringing the excitement down the stretch there.
Oh, yeah, Andrew. I mean, with the playoffs coming up so close, I mean, after that, I mean, that's got to be a shot of adrenaline for these Americans. That was just a boost for this team. They needed that win, and, man, they pulled that off. I mean, nobody else but the Americans, Andrew. That was a great, great game.
And Chris Gazaldo, with the final 2 RBIs of the game, his walk-up song was playing right through that entire walk-off celebration. I think it's the catchiest one on the team, so I'd love to hear it.
But. Oh, yeah. I mean, for that, though, I don't know. I think I might have to go with him as the player of the game. I mean, to walk it off for these Americans, that's got to be a well-earned player of the game here.
I think it's going to be our first unanimous player of the game, Avery. I'm going with Chris Gazaldo as well. What a game for Chris Gazaldo, and what a win for the Americans. For everyone who tuned in on the broadcast, thank you so much for joining us. I've been Andrew Roberts. This has been Avery Vogt. We'll be back tomorrow for the Jamestown Tarpskunks.
Wow. Wow.
Boom.